What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Big Blue in the Bronx channel. Myself, Luca, here alongside my good buddy, Angry John. And tonight is a special night for the NBA. Shortly before free agency, first of all, a few trades broke. We'll just mention that in a little bit. Few days, I'd say 8 days before free agency, we have the NBA draft. Obviously, top names like Victor Wembanyama, Scoot Henderson, Brandon Miller, the Thompson twins, Cam Whitmore, are all set to be in the lottery. Some of the most exciting picks in this draft, some of the most exciting kids in this draft. But John, how you doing? What are your first thoughts? I know the Knicks aren't picking in the first round, but who are you? What are you excited to look at? Like, which teams intrigue you the most in terms of where they're selecting, who they could potentially select?
Well, I mean, in terms of this draft selections, you got obviously you got a generational player and Victor Wembanyama, as most scouts have been saying. But then it really starts in number two, the debate between Scoot Henderson and Brandon Miller of who the Hornets are going to take. That's where really the draft starts once you have that like supposed franchise type player. Also, like you mentioned, the trades have already begun, and those are pretty interesting to me. As I love offseason, I love trades, so.
Yes, I'm just gonna share the guys. Don't forget, hit the like button, subscribe, do all the good stuff. Appreciate your help. Appreciate you guys. Obviously, everybody in the chat right now. We've obviously hit 1,200 subscribers as of I think it was Tuesday night. Might have been Wednesday night. Might have lost count of my days. But regardless, John, we've had some. Besides the Bradley Beal trade, we've had some major trades. Two major trades, in fact, break over the last 2 days. So I thought I'd pull the first one up.
All right,
As of last night, this was configured. The Celtics were looking to acquire Kristaps Porzingis, originally with the Wizards and the Clippers. Now, the Clippers fell out of the deal because they were concerned about Malcolm Brogdon's injury history. So, the full details on that, the Celtics received 2023 and 2024 first-round picks for Kristaps Porzingis. The Wizards received Tyus Jones from the Grizzlies and a 2023 second-round pick. And the Grizzlies, in the stunner, received Marcus Smart, former defensive player of the year for the Boston Celtics. How do you look at that trade? How do you see who won?
So, it's very hard to determine with the three-team trade. I like what the Grizzlies did here, just because you add that gritty point guard who kind of fits your style. You know, you have Ja Morant suspended the first 25 games of the season, so obviously you have to go get somebody to replace him because, you know, you're not going to let backups run it. So getting Smart really does give you a solid point guard. You know, as for Boston, you know, they get a little bit more shooting. Now, the issue is I don't like them defensively now on the interior. I don't think Porzingis is that good. And, you know, you got an aging Al Horford. So that doesn't really help them. But they do get the first, or two first, I should say, one in this year's draft, which is pick number 24, and next year's. And then you look at Washington, what they're doing. They already had the Beal trade. Now you get rid of Porzingis. And, you know, then they have the next trade, which we'll get into. But it seems like, you know, it's a complete teardown and a rebuild for them. So they're just trying to get as many assets as they can.
Of course, I think the Wizards are in a weird spot. We'll obviously go into the next trade in a little bit. But I think the Celtics are going to lose some grit with Marcus Smart. He was definitely a personality. He definitely has an effect on the locker room. He's definitely a experienced ball handler. Again, he's not mainly a point guard. He's more of a shooting guard, but he's going to help you on defense. I said he's going to make that impact on the locker room. So I think, like, even among Celtics fans, he's going to be a guy that the Celtics will dearly miss. But they do acquire shooting in Kristaps Porzingis and gain not one but two first-round picks. So I like that trade in terms of getting better shooting. Now, defensively, I think Porzingis is slightly overrated. I think his mobility is kind of taxed a little bit. So I'm interested to see whether Robert Williams will play the center position next to Kristaps Porzingis, or will Porzingis play the center spot and man it down and make somebody like Williams or Al Horford expendable? I doubt it. But nice, balance for the Celtics there. For the Wizards, receiving Tyus Jones in 2023 second-round pick, not much there. Tyus Jones is a nice backup. I think he might start if the Wizards do not draft the point guard because As you said, John, the Wizards are rebuilding, but it's an interesting trade on all fronts. But it's kind of almost a well balanced trade because I think each team kind of sought out their own goal. And I also forgot to
Mhm.
mention the Wizards are also going to receive Danilo Gallinari. So
His
our next trade
contracts.
that we must bring up is kind of unexpected as of today. Chris Paul traded from the Washington Wizards, originally from the Phoenix Suns in the Bradley Beal trade. Chris Paul being traded from the Wizards to the Warriors straight up for Jordan Poole, a protected first round pick in 2030, a second rounder in 2027, and second round pick, I think from last year, Ryan Rollins. John, how do you evaluate this trade?
Well, let's start with the Wizards here, and like we said, they're trying to get as many assets. But I like the gamble they take. You flip Chris Paul, and you try and get a younger-ish player in Jordan Poole, who's I guess you could try and build around. Remember, this guy did win a ring. He was very important in that last Warriors finals. So again, a guy you could possibly build around, or if you don't want to, the rebuild's too much, you could flip him for more assets. As for the Warriors, I guess if you're viewing as the last dance sort of for them, you bring in Chris Paul, he's going to give you veteran leadership. Do I think he is what he once was? No, but I do think, if you put him as a backup point guard to run the second unit for the Warriors, give Steph a breather, give all the other guards a breather. I don't think it's a half bad idea. I'm not a big fan of Paul's game anymore, but he also has the injury history, which you're taking a gamble on. So again, both teams seek out what they want. I do like the Wizards a little bit better in this deal, if I'm being honest. Luca, how do you view it?
I think obviously I think I agree with you on the last hurrah for the Warriors because I think Steph said he wanted to run it back at least one more time. Shouts to Jet Smith, by the way, one of our members. It is kind of a last ditch kind of deal. I see Chris Paul being the backup. There's no way I think he's starting over somebody like a Klay Thompson or whoever. But
Mm-hmm.
again, a last ditch effort. But the interesting thing is here, John. Obviously, the Wizards get the Warriors pick at 19, but a 2030 first round pick, like they're getting picks like years and years and years
Later.
down the line,
Mm-hmm.
which I find very awkward. Obviously, that's the thing with the NBA. You can arrange for picks down the line to trade for. Like you could
Yeah,
trade for a 2030 pick or
I was
whatever.
gonna ask. Do you think there should be a rule on like uh how far along you can trade a pick, or you think like it should be whenever?
I think I do think there should be some limitation because there's no way you have like some sort of vision of what a team's going to do in like 7 years. Nobody
Right.
knows. They could either be rebuilding, they could be contending, they could be whatever. Because like again, your trade what the Suns did with the Wizards trading multiple second round picks. 2027, 2026. Again, second round picks are not much of anything unless you try to really hit on it like a Nikola Jokic, but that's obviously rare. But I think there's definitely some sort of limitation that ought to be invoked. At least I would say 3 to 5 years down the line, maybe a little bit shorter.
Yeah. Um. It is weird because it's like, you know what? It is the team right to trade away the pick.
Hmm.
So you have the right to keep it or, get rid of it. But at the same time, it's like trading a pick, like how far are we willing to go? Like, what if we traded a pick 15 years from now?
Yeah,
Like,
I don't think it's that far, but obviously there's got to be some sort of limit. Trading picks 7 years down the line is kind of ridiculous. What's going on? Jack says, "Thank God the draft's on. The Yankees are a national embarrassment."
yeah,
I
I
didn't.
call
Jack, I'm telling you right now, I did not put on a minute or a second of the game, and I still
I
don't want to.
I
So,
actually
anyways,
felt bad.
go ahead.
I
You
felt
feel
bad.
bad?
I turned the game on and like Herman just like, dear, you might as well just toss in the batting practice pitcher for the Mariners.
Oh, of course. So, got another few things to talk about, like some of the hottest stars that could be traded.
Mhm.
One name comes to mind, John, and that is Damian Lillard. Now,
Right.
I actually have a proposed trade that I've made in my mock draft here, where the Blazers obviously trade for Damian Lillard. trade Damian Lillard. I'm sorry, and the Miami Heat get him. Obviously, I could reveal all the details later, but where do you think Damian Lillard goes? Does he get traded tonight, in your opinion?
I don't know if he gets traded tonight. It would be really, really tough. Because what's funny? Me and Luca were talking about this earlier. But, I mean,
John, I'd like to call a quick timeout for a sec as the pick is in for the San Antonio Spurs. With the first overall pick in the 2023 NBA draft, the San Antonio Spurs select. Does it show up on my screen at all? I'm guessing that they
yep, it's
Wembanyama.
Victor. Mm-hmm.
Kind of obvious. It was the
Yeah.
consensus.
I didn't think they would trade the pick. I pretty much thought once they got it, it was like Wembanyama's a lock to the Spurs, who I guess can start the rebuild and start the new era. I mean, it's been a bit of a process ever since their veterans like Duncan and Parker all retired. All those guys, they haven't really been a consistent powerhouse like they once were. So again, what Luca? Do you want to start off by talking about a little about Wembanyama, or you want to go more into the Lillard rumors?
Well, we could talk about Wembanyama a little bit. Like he's just a freak of nature. He can do everything at a very high level. Good shooter. Obviously, the athletic talent, the way just his size, his frame for a forward or a center is like so. It's so rare to see. Like we saw Chet Holmgren last year, but he's just a freak of nature. He does a lot of things well. Obviously, could shoot the three ball a little bit, not too much, but he has an see John. He's 7'4" with
Mm-hmm.
an 8-foot wingspan.
Wingspan. No, yeah, and the scary part is, you think of a guy like, all the tall players in this league that have been great shooters. Well, this guy can shoot. I know some of his like efficiency and field goal percentages weren't the greatest, but he does have the ability to shoot from the outside, which is again very important in today's game. And then you combine that with his athleticism and his very wide frame, as you mentioned, the 8-foot wingspan. I mean, that's pretty good. And then, he's got like perimeter skills too. So like he can create a shot for himself, which is like at 7'4", how many guys can really do that? So
How many guys at 7'4", John, can have their own handle?
uh,
Not a lot.
probably not a lot.
Exactly. So a versatile offensive package, very good ball handler was just mentioned. He's also a good playmaker on the run, especially in transition. But the big, not so much a biggest knock, but there's two main knocks on him, John, and that is he needs to work on the little things like his decision making and all of that revolving around that stuff, and overall just refinement. But also he has to bulk up a little bit. You're 7'4". You're going to be facing some really tough big men across the league. He's also 230 pounds. That's not like bad for like a wing, but I think obviously he'll have to bulk up a little bit, especially in the arms.
Right. And you mentioned the bulking up. And, when you think of that, you got to think what happens when he faces stronger defenders. Is he going to be able to finish inside? Like, what if he goes against a guy like who's not as tall, but a guy who's like solid, like Steven Adams? I think he's one of the strongest players in the league. Is he going to be able to handle that? Is he going to have enough post moves to score inside as he can from the outside as well?
Right, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So the obvious pick, the most consensus pick out of this
Yeah,
entire draft.
I highly doubt most people had anyone else going, or the Spurs going in another direction. I really doubt it.
What's going on, Daniel Berry Sports?
So, man.
Yeah, definitely. It's also because the Spurs love their foreign picks, their overseas picks. I mean, you think of Tony Parker, you think of Manu Ginobili, now you think of Victor Wembanyama, drafted first overall, just like any other draft pick that the most critical draft picks that the Spurs have had. Is Victor is obviously crying, but this is his chance to become honestly one of the greatest ever because he has so much hype around him and he's an athletic freak of nature. And he's going to be the building block of that entire franchise. So he deserves their restart.
And let's not forget, like, he's got the greatest coach in the NBA right now. So he's kind of got that going for him. in terms of development is a pretty good start. And again, the Spurs team is not that loaded right now. It's not that talented. They do have one player I like currently, and that's Keldon Johnson as a young piece. But other than that, really not much to work with, as obviously Wembanyama is probably going to be the focal point of this team now.
Yeah, definitely. The Hornets pick is in. I'm going to update the banner. But John, obviously, when it gets to you, you will announce this pick. Now,
Yeah.
John, we're 1-for-1, correct?
Mm-hmm. That's
I
correct.
mean, awesome, awesome. So I'm going to put in pick 2, as I believe Victor Wembanyama is getting a nice hug from some people. Not sure who that is, but he also has his brother, by the way, who's also a highly touted prospect for the future. So he's another one to keep an eye on in the future
Yep.
years.
To
He's talking
Wembanyama.
with Monica McNutt. Now they have the Spurs
What
draft
is
party
this?
at
What
AT&T
is this
Center.
in San Antonio? Is that the Coyote?
Yes, that is the mascot.
Is that
All
Marty
right.
Smith and a cowboy? Oh God.
All right, so I'm going to update the banner right here. Charlotte Hornets select. We're still waiting. Now,
Yeah, the
my
pick is
prediction,
not in.
it's Scoot Henderson, just like you, John, right?
I think it's Scoot Henderson too. Although I also wouldn't be shocked if they went along and took Brandon Miller,
Right.
because everyone's been saying his name. And there's just so many smoke screens you can't tell, but I think it'd be better if they went with Scoot Henderson. And not that I think Brandon Miller is like, I'm not saying neither one is better yet. I'm not making those claims because we
Right, of
obviously
course.
don't know. But you look at this Hornets team, obviously they had a boatload of injuries last year and they disappointed because of it. They finished 27-55. You got LaMelo Ball is going to be back. You could pair him with a Scoot Henderson, and hey, that could be a really nice guard pairing. I had a question. Is it Rozier's not a free agent, right?
No,
Terry
but
Rozier?
if you want
No.
my honest opinion, I think he's going to be gone at some point.
Yeah, so I think if they do make that, he's traded. But then the problem is if they took Brandon Miller, right? You're already paying Gordon Hayward like so
Yeah,
much
you would
money on
have
the
to.
contract.
It's
You would
such
have
an albatross because Hayward can't stay healthy. But, John, you have this pick.
Here's the pick: is the Charlotte Hornets select Brandon Miller
Wow.
out of
Okay,
Alabama.
so now we are 1-for-2.
Mm-hmm.
And now you just brought up the problem, John.
Mm-hmm.
They're paying not only Gordon Hayward, but Brandon Miller. I like Miller. He's probably the consensus top 3. Obviously got Wembanyama number 1. Number 2 was either Miller or Scoot Henderson, but Miller, I believe, is the most ready.
Yeah, and you look at the positives for Brandon Miller. He's a shot maker, who's got his ability to hit 3-pointers. He shot 38% in college, which is pretty good. And he's going to be your scorer on this team. And he's got a good dribble pull up move. He could shoot the 3. He can score over the smaller defenders with the fact that he's 6'9" with a good mid range game, which is pretty good. And a lot of guys call him like a Paul George type. I mean, we'll see. He's a little skinnier and smaller with his body frame, but he can always add muscle. Luca, what did you think of Brandon Miller?
I mean, he was one of the guys who did for Prospect of the Week. I like his shot. I definitely believe he is very pro ready, or at least pro ready out of the top 2 that we were talking about with Henderson and Miller. Very tough to defend. He's a high flyer, can play above the rim. Not the most athletic, but he's definitely a half court playmaker and a shot maker as well.
Right. And the thing I'd say about him is 2 things he can work on: the athleticism, which you brought up, and I think he's just a little too skinny, and I think he needs to get stronger. Um, because when you have bigger guys that you're trying to defend in this league, they're going to expose you because he really does have a skinny frame. So again, he can always add muscle, though. That's not like the worst criticism or knock to have on a prospect.
Also shot 43% from the field last season, but that's obviously not a great thing. He could be more efficient. Solid. Again, he's also a very good defender. We saw some of his film with some weak side blocking. He hit 86% of his free throws. Not a lot of concerns. Obviously, we mentioned the athleticism, the efficiency are the only like main court concerns,
Hmm.
and off the court concerns are pretty much gone because of the whole murder investigation. It was concluded that he was removed of any wrongdoing. So I like this pick for the Hornets. It just what do they do with Gordon Hayward, or do they envision him as a power forward as in Brandon Miller? Because Miller stands at 6. Let me check. I think it's 6'9". You don't
So,
typically see small forwards at
would
6'9".
would you even say he's a buyout candidate?
I don't know if I would say he's a buyout candidate, but he's definitely a trade candidate. So 6'9", 201 for Miller. He could definitely bulk up.
Hmm. Okay. So I guess we have our next pick as they're interviewing Mr. Brandon Miller here, the Portland Trail Blazers. And as before, like we were talking about before the draft started, um, Dame Lillard, right?
Right.
If I had to guess where he might end up, I don't think he gets traded during the draft. The
Okay.
Heat are really intriguing, and I think that's probably the most sense. It's just so hard with that cap and everything because they really do have to finagle it. Even you know that when you were playing
Mm-hmm.
on the trade
Mm-hmm.
machine.
Mm-hmm.
So it would have to take a lot just to do it. And I don't know because the trade market might be a little weird now because Bradley Beal got all those picks. Like, what
Of
does
course.
Damian Lillard get?
Like, well, to add, Beal had no first attached to him. That because the Washington Wizards obviously granted his trade request, or at least he waived his no trade clause, and only to that, Suns didn't have a lot of first round assets because they obviously traded for Kevin Durant. That
Mhm.
was a part of it. I'm just very interested, like with this third overall pick here, John. Third overall, do they choose to select Scoot Henderson and say, you know what, we're going to build around him as the point guard and then have Anthony Simons be the main option scoring wise?
Uh, I would think so. I mean, I don't think they're going off the board here. I mean, you look at their roster, assuming they do trade Lillard, right? They do have
Mm-hmm.
two nice building blocks with Simons and Sharp. You got Nurkic. You're hoping to come back.
Right.
Unfortunately, he had the surgery for. Again, I don't remember how. I should have looked that up earlier. How long he's been out for now? But I think that you get Scoot Henderson, who we talked about during Prospect of the Week. He's kind of like a really like athletic version of a Derrick Rose or a Russell Westbrook. He's going to attack the basket, and whatnot. And that's the player comp that we kind of both had for him.
Yeah, Henderson's obviously definitely more raw than
Mhm.
Brandon Miller, but he definitely has more of the upside. What's going on, Jonathan? He says, "Do we think the Knicks trade into the draft?" I say no personally, but I could always be proven wrong because I thought like if the Knicks had a chance to trade in the draft, it would be for one of Indiana's picks towards the end of the first round, in which they could have traded Obi Toppin. Now I doubt he is worth a first rounder, so
Yeah.
it'll be obviously interesting to see. As I'm watching on ESPN, I changed the channel. We see JJ Redick. I don't know who else is among the panel as well.
Is
So
that better right now? Because I'm on ABC with Stephen A. Smith, and I
no,
forgot who.
I don't think it matters much what's going on Discord because the corner of my screen's blocked off by my Xbox, and I couldn't
Wow.
see like what the original pick was. So I switched to
Well,
ESPN as the Blazers are up, and with the third overall pick in the 2023 NBA draft, the Portland Trailblazers select a player by the name of Scoot
better.
Henderson, point guard,
Yep.
NBA G League Ignite.
All right. So again, Scoot is off the board now, kind of like how we said it. Now that Brandon Miller's gone, I think everyone figured that was the general consensus of the top three picks
Yep,
with
definitely.
uh, with Wembanyama, Miller, and now Henderson off. Oh, excuse me, off the board. Disgruntled, what's up, my man? He comments: the Warriors' new GM has a pile of shit where his brain should be.
Oh my God. Damn.
He is
Is
not
this because
happy.
we
He is
traded for
not
Chris
happy.
Paul?
He is not happy about it.
I'd
Yeah,
love to hear your
disgruntled. Don't
thoughts, man. But obviously Scoot Henderson's the pick. I'm just interested in the fit next to Damian Lillard because you have Simon. Again, this is hypothetically if they're not going to trade Lillard, which would be a mistake in my opinion because I think, I praise loyalty to stars. A lot of people do. A lot of people believe in loyalty. There's just sometimes too much loyalty, and Damian Lillard has only been to one Western Conference final with this team, dating back to 2019, I think it was. But
Mhm.
they tried building around him. It just hasn't worked. They've tried
Mm.
putting coaches around him. It just hasn't worked. And he's not
Wh-
somebody who's complained often or just whined and bitched and moaned. He's
mhm.
just been there, taking the heat. He's been their best player, obviously, for the
Mhm.
past decade. So it's very
14,
interesting.
what is it, 13 years or no, wait, I'm sorry.
He was drafted in 2012.
2012, so it's 11 years. 11 years, and they failed to build around him. But,
They had CJ McCollum next to him,
mhm.
Jeremy Grant. I mean, you can name all the co-stars that I'm not going to say they've failed, but they've just failed to contend with.
Nurkic, they put around him. They put,
They drafted a bust in Zach Collins,
ooh, that was a bad pick.
Nasir Little, who was he was more now on their bench, obviously re-signed, but just not a lot of good team building around the Portland Trailblazers did. He did also, I forgot to mention this, he also had LaMarcus Aldridge too for a little bit, but he obviously left for San
Right.
Antonio. But it's never been ideal for Dame Lillard.
No, you're right. You're right on that.
I mean,
Um,
go ahead.
no, like I was gonna say, I was thinking where else could Lillard go? There's some rumors about Brooklyn, right?
Hmm.
What if, like, I was even thinking of something crazy along the lines of like for drastic. Like, would Portland go and say, "Hey, we're gonna ship you to New Orleans, and we're gonna take back Zion"?
Hmm. I don't think New Orleans actually has a point guard or actually doesn't have a true point guard. I mean, they have Alvarado, but more, I don't think of as a point guard. I think he's more of a defensive demon. Dyson
Mm-hmm.
Daniels is supposed to be a point guard, but I think he's more of a defensive demon. They don't actually have a starting point guard, in my opinion. So I'm going to look at the Pelicans depth chart. I think he'd be a decent fit alongside Brandon Ingram. And they've got some
Yeah,
young pieces like Herbert Jones, Trey Murphy,
that's right.
and Jonas Valanciunas, obviously a veteran. So they have some nice young pieces, a little scattered in between. But he in fact, John, I'm not sure if he even mentioned this while bringing up the idea. He would be next to his old guy, his old
CJ
teammate,
McCollum.
in CJ McCollum.
That's where I was thinking and going along. I know they liked each other as teammates and whatnot, and you give Zion a fresh start in Portland because it just hasn't worked out with the injuries. And everyone talks about the talent and the athleticism that he still possesses because when he's healthy he can play, but he just can't stay healthy.
Right, of course. I'm just looking through the draft record of the Portland Trailblazers. They also drafted Rondé Hollis Jefferson in 2015. Obviously, wasn't much of an impact player. They had Connaughton, they had Chris Kaman. Just not. He's had the biggest thing he's had to a co-star next to him has probably been Simons or McCollum.
I'd
It's
say
not
CJ.
exactly worked out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, McCollum is obviously a little more established. I don't think Simons has been an All Star just yet.
Mm-hmm.
So we're about 2 minutes 8 seconds away from the Rockets selection.
All right, and with Houston, remember they are a young team. Did they have the worst record in the league, or would they have the second? I
I
can't remember
want to
who.
say they had the worst. I'll double check.
I
NBA
don't
worst.
remember the NBA standings of who actually had the best odds, and I don't remember if they got pushed to fourth.
They had, I believe, the third worst record.
Okay, so they had the third, pushed the fourth. And now you look at their roster, right? You got Kevin Porter Jr., Jalen Green. Obviously, you drafted high. You drafted Jabari Smith Jr. last year. Those are the guys that they're trying to build around. A lot of scoring, I'd say, and a lot of still trying to mix and match. The guy I would say, they should go after is one of the Thompson twins, and I have Amon as the better twin here. And that's not a smack on Asar or anything,
Right.
but that's just because I think he fits them a little bit better. I like Amon's athleticism and his speed on the floor could really help. He's
He's
also a
more
good
of a.
playmaker.
Mhm.
He averaged like 6 assists in the with the overtime elite. Um, and so I think you bring in Amon Thompson, right? you can have someone that's just not like because I feel like everyone's kind of like a scorer on that team. There's no
Of
real
course.
cohesion yet with the
There's
Rockets.
no real guy to like be that role player, or organize the offense. Obviously, KPG's their point guard. Jalen Green's their main scorer, although I'd argue he's probably more inefficient. Kenyon Martin's obviously their small forward. Martin's more of an athletic freak and defensive player. You've also got Alperen Şengün, who I think is going to have a big year this season. I liked him
Mhm.
coming out
Yep.
in 2021. I believe he was drafted. I think I'm missing one more player, and that is Jabari Smith Jr., who had a rough rookie year to start, but he
Mhm.
started to come around. Even though I thought, in my opinion, Jabari Smith was the out of the top three last year, he was probably the most ready.
Really, I always thought it was Boncaro, but
Boncaro was definitely close, but I'm in talks of like terms of contributing immediately. I would definitely say it was Smith, then Boncaro, and then Holmgren. Obviously, Holmgren went on to get hurt.
wait,
Disgruntled says the only thing good, the only good thing Warriors trade does is we are free of that horrible pool contract, and the next season the cap jumps again, so the Warriors will be able to retool. What's going on, Jeffrey? Yep, I think that was the purpose of the trade. Obviously, Warriors cleared the cap, and they did get Chris Paul. So the pick is in for the Houston
all right,
Rockets. As coming out will be Adam Silver. John, you have this pick.
all right. With the fourth pick, the Houston Rockets will select Amin Thompson. So
You were
wow,
right.
I was right. I
All
I
right.
kind of hit the nail on the head on that one.
Now I will say this. I'm just going to put it up here. I doubt he comes in as a true point guard because he is 6'7". You
Yeah,
don't see a lot of 6'7" point guards unless you're Ben Simmons
big
being
guy.
what 6'8", 6'9".
Mhm.
But athletic, tall, has the raw athleticism. Not a great outside shooter like his brother.
Yeah,
His brother's
that's
not
the
great either, but that's the biggest knock on them. They're
mhm.
very talented defensively, both of them. So I think Amon's going to be a big help to this team.
Now I'm not trying to put this comparison out, but are you scared he has like a little Ben Simmons in him?
Uh, let me just get to these comments real quick.
Mhm.
Rip to the people that lost their lives in the
Yeah.
Titanic submarine. Yep, definitely. With what do you think of the Celtics trade last night, early this morning? I guess you could call it a win for them. 2 first-round picks and obviously Kristaps Porzingis. But going into this pick, I think the shooting needs to be better for obviously for him to surpass Ben Simmons, or at least try to be better
Mhm.
than what he was. Obviously, that'll remain his biggest knock. At least you know what, John, I could say at least he's tried to work on his form, unlike Ben
No,
Simmons.
yeah. I'm not trying to put a drastic saying the kid's not working on his form or anything because we know Ben Simmons would only do it in practice. But it's just like, when you see like, bigger guys that are kind of either pass first and just have athleticism, you think of guys in the NBA that struggle to shoot.
Right.
And, Ben Simmons is someone that came into recent mind because remember how we thought of Ben Simmons when he was coming out of LSU? All he needed was a jump shot. And it's literally held him back his whole career. What is that now? 8 years later
2016.
or 20? Was it 15 or 6? He went 2016.
Yes,
So
so it is about 7 years
7 years. Yeah,
later.
7 years. Sorry, but yeah. I mean, good for Ramen to get picked by the Rockets and also Blue City. You're right. Rips to those people on that submarine. Personally, I could never go underwater like that, but nevertheless, now the oh my god, the who's on the clock now? I can't even.
Detroit.
Detroit's on the clock. Luca, who did you have them taking?
I had the Houston Rockets selecting Cam Whitmore. Obviously, any of the three that we were just talking about, the Thompson twins or Whitmore, obviously very athletic guards and forwards. But I like that, the Rockets are going to be more structured now because they have a better coach in Ime Udoka, who obviously led a finals team. Not
Mm-hmm.
that they won the finals, obviously, but I think he's one of the best coaches. Obviously, he was marred by off the court troubles, but regardless, I think he's going to make something of this Rockets team. Will I say they make the playoffs? No, but I think that as an individual unit, as a team, they'll play more sound. They will play better. They'll move the ball. They'll play defense instead of trying to play like a backyard game or a pickup game. So
Right.
I think Udoka is going to really use his Thompson's talents very well.
Right, and it's good that they got him in there to try and get the best out of the young core that Houston has. Um, and now we look at the Pistons and whatnot with the next pick because they have pick 5. Um, you know, really young team that some people are thinking, they could take a jump next year,
Right.
and that the rebuild might be finally over. As you just look at their roster and what they have, obviously you drafted Jaden Ivey last year. You
Hmm.
had Kate Cunningham first overall the year before that, so that's kind of your backcourt. And you got some interesting pieces up front. Bogdanovich is a really solid player. Some people think he might get traded, but who knows? And then you got two guys who you're trying to, I guess, revive the careers of Marvin Bagley and James Wiseman.
Yes.
One both, I guess you can call them now reclamation projects. What do I think they need? I think they need help with the bench unit,
Hmm.
uh, especially at the guard spot. That's why I have them. You know, I think they're going to go after the other Thompson twin. Now that Amon's off the board, it's going to be Asar. Um, who's this guy? I'd say, you want to compare him to his brother. I'd say he's more of the athletic one, in my opinion.
Okay.
Um, that's just because he's got a good he's got good bounce to him, and
Right.
he's more of the crafty finisher at the basket. But he's also still a good passer too.
Of course.
I think we said he in the I can't remember if we said he was the more flashy one.
I think I said that Eamon was definitely the more flashy
You
passer.
thought he was
Asar,
okay.
I said Asar was the better shooter and
Mhm.
possibly the better defender, even though I think their levels are even.
Yeah,
But obviously, Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey. I'll look at the rest of the depth chart,
Killian
and
Hayes. Wait,
Killian Hayes is still with them, but I don't see him being in the starting lineup because I don't think
yeah.
Hayes is that good, to be fair.
hmm
So
Um, who I feel like we're missing someone on this team that I just can't.
Isaiah Stewart, no, Stewart's still on this team. Jalen
Yeah,
Duren's still on this team. As the Pistons pick
Turin,
is
yeah.
in, so I will take this one. With the 5th pick overall in the 2023 NBA draft, the Detroit Pistons select Asar Thompson,
Damn.
guard, overtime elite. Back to back for the brothers.
Fourth and who was the last? That's a good question. Who was the last set of brothers in the first round?
Ooh, I'm gonna try to think. I
Are
mean,
they twins actually?
I'll double check for you, but
I'm not 100% sure if I'm being honest. I think they are
I'm
because
pretty
I
sure that yeah,
remember
they are. They are.
I remember the Morris twins
Yes.
went first round. I don't remember if anyone else went.
You got Brooke and Robin. I think they went different years though, if I'm
Yeah,
not
I'm saying the
mistaken.
same draft. I think it was the Morris twins.
I'll look that up for you right now.
Um,
Marcus Morris was drafted in 2000 and 2011, 14th overall. Markeith was drafted 2011, 13th overall.
mhm.
Let me just check that they were born on the same date. And they were. So the last time two brothers were picked back to back,
Mhm.
Marcus and Markeith Morris. So what's
Yeah.
going on? I just like to say what's going on, Brad. You guys think the Suns move Aiton, or are they done making big moves? I really don't see how Aiton fits into the picture. I think his motor is questionable at times, and to me, I just don't think you're going to win with him. I think if you trade for a guy like Miles Turner now, the Suns are bereft of assets, which is obviously a problem. But I don't think they're going to win with DeAndre Ayton. John, what are your thoughts on this situation?
I think that they need to replenish their depth, and he's their best trade candidate to do so. And if you listen to Colin Coward, he says depth doesn't mean anything. But if you listen to me and Luca, we think depth is important in this league, as the Nuggets kind of proved it this year. So I think they need to get rid of Aiton because the motor sometimes not the best defensively. for the Suns and has kind of been, a decent player as a first overall pick, but he's kind of hasn't. I don't think he's lived up to the hype.
No.
And I think maybe a change of scenery can either get his motor running or it'll fizzle him out. But again, the Suns need to go get a bench because, again, now that you have Booker, Beal, and Durant, that's 3 big contracts. We listed the cap space. What was it? Negative 80 million. You said
Negative
or
80 million, I believe.
negative 80 million. So they got their GM, and he's got no draft picks control to 2031. So he has his work cut out for him for a little while.
Yep. So to talk about this little Pistons pick here with the Sar Thompson, obviously we mentioned Cade Cunningham. First of all, it's a very athletic lineup, John. You got 3 guys who are projected to be in the starting lineup with athletic burst: Cade, Jaden Ivey, and Asar Thompson. I think Asar Thompson takes the 3, and I think Boyan Bogdanovic is going to be moved to a contender like the Lakers or whoever. Jalen Duren, I think, mans the center position. I don't know who mans the 4 because obviously they need a stretch guy. They can't just have a defensive 4.
Do they
So,
do
go
they
ahead.
put James Wiseman in the starting lineup?
If they think he can stretch the floor, yes. But I don't think he's there yet. He's still on the comeback trail. So maybe it's Marvin Bagley, but I think Bagley's a downgrade defensively. But at least you have Cade and Sar Thompson being very good defenders. Same thing with Jalen Duren. So I think you'll be able to mask that a little bit. And I'm sure Monty Williams is going to mask that too because I think he's a very good coach. I don't know why he got fired, but that's beyond
I
me.
don't know either. That one I think was the stunner of the offseason in terms of either players being moved or coaches on the move or being canned. I don't. For the life of me, I don't know how you even consider moving a guy. Like I don't know how many coaches win 2 out of 4 Coach of the Years in the past 4 seasons and get fired.
Of course. So, a few things. First off, I'd like to ask John. John, how are you doing on your predictions?
Well, I got 1, 4, and 5 correct.
Okay,
So
I've got 1 and 5 correct.
So I'm just
2 of 5. I'm 40%. You are, I think
60.
that would be 60%.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
So I'm still waiting on the Magic selection. They've obviously the pick is in, but we'll wait for a second. As Adam Silver's coming up, John, take it away.
Oh, come on. It's still on a commercial. I'm on the ABC. God damn it.
Oh Jesus. Well, I'll cover this one. The Magic. Go ahead.
The Magic will take Anthony Black. Wow.
Wow.
I got it right in my mock draft.
Well, out of luck then. Let me just put this up.
This is amazing. I have never done so good in a mock.
From the College of Arkansas.
Yeah, so a little bit on Anthony Black. First off, he's more of the playmaker. There's some comparisons out there to Lonzo Ball as a player comp because, he's got the high IQ and he usually makes the right play and gets his teammates open. He does a lot of those touch passes or swing passes to shooters. And also he's very good in the pick and roll in terms of distributing. So, and I think, this could be a good fit here for Orlando, just because they're another team who some people think, is the rebuild finally over? Like, you got a front court of everyone likes, I like Franz Wagner a lot. Obviously, Banchero just had his rookie season, had a very good season. And then you got Wendell Carter, who's got talent. Then you got kind of like a glut in the backcourt.
Oh, yeah.
Which, you got Fultz, Harris, Suggs, and Anthony. Now you add Anthony Black to that. But I don't think Fultz is you just can't trust him with the injuries. Gary Harris is a good scorer. I think he'd be more suited for the bench.
Yeah.
And you can choose who you want to start between Suggs or Anthony. Or even if you want to do that with Harris. But again, that's just my opinion.
So get to a couple comments real quick. Allegedly, Ayton did not get along with some of the guys in the locker room, specifically him and a few bench guys. That's why he needs to go. But anyways, I wrote this down. First of all, it's another miss for me. It's another hit for John. So John is 4 for 6, if I'm corrected.
You are.
That is how much percent?
Like 66 or 67. I don't even know.
Yep. So the biggest strength, I obviously wrote this down with each of the draft picks. The biggest strength, the biggest weakness, and why that pick is being made. Anthony Black, as John mentioned it, playmaking ability. He's also a very good defender, and he's also a guard, John, who could crash the glass. I think he averaged something like 5 rebounds per game at Arkansas. I'll do the numbers right here. Black, his stats last season at Arkansas, as the Pacers come up to the board. They have not made the selection yet. Let's see. Anthony Black averaged about 5 rebounds a game for a point guard who stands at 6'7". Wow. I had no idea Black was 6'7".
He
I'll double
doesn't even
check
look
though.
it.
No, he
He
didn't.
really
No, he looks like your typical average point guard. But the biggest concern that lies with him, which I don't think will be a problem because I think he's going to have nice support, is the perimeter shooting and the shot creation. So if you map it out, the point guard, obviously, if he were to start, would be Anthony Black. Shooting guard, I think that's kind of that's kind of jumbled a little bit. You really have to muster through because I don't think they have any real guards that are deserving of a starting position. I mean, you mentioned it, John. Gary Harris, Jalen Suggs, who's rumored to might possibly be traded. Cole Anthony. There's not a lot of like real talent there to say, okay, this guy should start. Small forward Franz Wagner, also mentioned in trade rumors. Paulo Banchero, the rookie, I should say the second-year man, and Wendell Carter, this nice center who could stretch the floor. So I like this pick for the Magic, but I'm very interested to see who will play right next to him in the backcourt.
That's what they're going to have to figure out either in this draft or in the off season, because that is need. That's their biggest need. And I'll also say this with the Magic. It's always funny because we never expect it. The team, you could throw the Pistons here. We never expect a team to get into the playoffs, kind of like the Kings last year. Now, I'm not saying they're going to take this astronomical leap, but you never know. Those are two teams that could possibly do it. And the Pacers are on the clock with the 7th pick, and the pick is in. As with the 7th pick, they select Bilal Coulibaly. Okay.
Wow,
Out of France.
kind of a stunner.
That is not who I had them taking. My guess was Cam Whitmore, but that kind of screws it up for me. So that is okay. As I think this is like the kind of the first, I don't want to say off the board pick, but a little bit of a reach in my opinion.
Yeah, he's more of an end of the lottery pick if we want to be fair.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to put up the banner real quick and then I'll explain my thoughts. Coulibaly was actually a teammate of Victor Wembanyama's, but honestly, John, the one thing I envisioned is I thought that the Pacers were going to select a power forward because I think that's what they desperately need. Obviously, you have Halliburton at the 1. You have Matherin that could be at the 2 or the 3, quite possibly. Buddy Hield is still there. I don't think he's there long term, but maybe he's Coulibaly's lined up next to Matheron. But I think they need a power forward because Aaron Nesmith, as I said, is not going to be there long. That's who's imagined to be the power forward. And I thought they were going to take somebody like a Jarris Walker right next to Miles Turner.
Yeah, I mean, I thought they'd go in the front court, and I guess he does. Now with Coulibaly, with the things I noticed, again, first off, you mentioned the teammate of Wembanyama, and what a shock, the wingspan, a 7'2" wingspan that Coulibaly has. So, you're hoping that can translate into a really good defender. And that's kind of what his strength is, the on-ball defense. A guy that's very good at closing out, and I see the effort level when he defends. The big gripe I have on him, or in my notes, is that he's more of like there's really not much of a. I'm not
much of a shooter.
It's not even the shooting part. It's just like, there's really not a lot of offensive IQ. Kind of like how we criticize RJ Barrett. I don't even like. I just don't see him being much of an offensive threat. But if the Pacers are looking for a guy that can defend wings, with that long wingspan, I think he averaged like 1.4 steals in France. So again, like you said, you got Halliburton and Turner that are going to be the 2 veterans. Maybe they keep Buddy Hield. I don't
I
know.
don't see it. He's got a
Maybe,
big contract. But
he does.
regardless, Yankees for life, what's going on, brother? And
Uh,
Booyah, what's going on, guys? If you haven't already, hit the like button. If you're new here, subscribe to all the good stuff we appreciate. We're bringing you content here on this Thursday night NBA draft as the pick is in for the Washington Wizards. I'm going to change up the format, and I'll obviously be announcing this pick. John, who do you have predicted here for the Wizards to select? Is he gone or is he still on the board?
I had the who did I have the Wizards taken? I got to go back into this. Well, funny enough, I had the Washington Wizards actually taking Jarris Walker. So if that's the pick, great. If not, I almost read the wrong team and I almost said Koulibaly. So apologies on that. But I have them
Yeah,
taking Jarris Walker.
yeah, I had them taking Anthony Black, but
Hmm.
we should be heading to the podium soon in about a sec here as we're getting a report from Adrian Wojnarowski.
Is there?
I don't know if there's a trade. It could be possible. Again, I'm keeping my notifications off because I don't want any spoilers. Obviously, we're watching Koulibaly as a pacer, future wing alongside Benedict Matheron. So obviously the pick is in.
Is there an NBA trade that I just want to? I hate when they don't.
When they don't say anything regarding the trade.
I'm sorry. I'm just trying to listen to. All right, they're just talking. I think they're just talking about past trade. Hold on, let me just double check that there's no trade that messed everything up. Dear God.
I think they're.
Oh wow, never mind. So the Pacers are actually sending Koulibaly to the Wizards.
Oh, fun, fun. I actually had Koulibaly going late first round to the Nets. So, thank
Yeah,
you for telling me that,
here's where
John.
the mock drafts get.
Screwed up. So now I'm now assuming, John, this pick is going to be sent to Miami. I'm not sorry, not Miami, Indiana.
Yeah, it's saying here, Clutch Points tweeted it out that the Wizards have traded their 7th pick and select Koulibaly. So, okay, so that means, all right. This is very.
As Adam Silver is going to come out and announce pick. Remember, folks, this is going to be possibly traded to the Indiana Pacers. So, with the 8th pick in the 2023 NBA draft, Washington Wizards select a player by the name of Jarris Walker, forward, Houston. John, you get
Wait,
another pick, but technically, it's
wait.
right.
I'm very confused because I had Jarris Walker going to.
Let me
Hold
change
up.
that to 8.
Does that count?
That does, in technicality, it does count because they're technically drafting him and then they're trading him. So you technically got the pick right.
Yeah, because I had him going to Indiana, and this is just. I really hate. Screw the fucking mock draft. I hate this
Exactly.
shit. I never predict trades.
Technically, yeah, I only did one, was obviously the Lillard trade. But the biggest thing with Walker, he's very versatile defensively. He can guard a lot of positions, and he's impactful on and off the ball, especially with his defense. Also could cut a little bit. But the biggest weakness that stands out, obviously being traded to the Pacers, lack of creation and shooting consistency. But I got to call a timeout here, John, because I'm in the same conundrum as you. I had the Pacers selecting Jarris Walker, and now he's being traded to them.
Fucking hell.
You had the win. It's like we're half right.
Yeah, like because so I had the oh my god, I had the Pacers taking Whitmore, like I said, and then the Wizards originally selecting Jarris Walker. But now I don't know if that counts.
It's like as I said, it's a half win for both of us because you originally had the Wizards selecting Jarris Walker.
Mm-hmm.
I had the Pacers getting Jarris Walker at 7, which was actually a pick beforehand, and it's going to be technically be half right. We just didn't know a trade was coming.
This is just.
But John, let me ask this: how do you like Jarris Walker's fit next to Miles Turner?
Well, now that we gave the whole scouting report for the wrong player on the wrong team. Well, and in terms of Jarris Walker, again, he coming out of Houston, who was actually a very good college team, so that is a plus for him. Which not a lot of people can say that you played on a really good college team. But what Jarris Walker is mostly known for, I'd say, first off, he's 6'8", 7'2", another guy with a big wingspan. I think it was 7'2" or 7'3", and he's just like, what really is good about him is he's got an NBA body already.
Yeah,
And he's a very good defender, especially on the interior, which is going to help out. The Pacers. You got him, you got Miles Turner down low, so that's going to be very hard to score on the inside
right.
of Walker. The issue is the shooting. He's just when it comes to 3-pointers, when it comes to his free throw, it is just not really good. And again, you need spacing in this lead. And, Miles Turner can stretch the floor, but Jarris Walker definitely has to improve his shot. And like I said, the free throws, everyone's got to make those.
Yeah, he's more of an inside scorer as the Jazz pick is up at number 9. John, let me just say this before, obviously, we'll get into more. Who do you think the Jazz are going to draft at number 9?
I had them taking the center out of Duke, Derek Lively.
Okay, I actually have them taking Taylor Hendricks. Well, obviously, we'll see what happens, but
That was
as I
the
said,
other option, which I saw a lot of people in their mock draft have.
yeah, that stretch big who also could play defense.
Mm-hmm.
Better than Olynyk, obviously, but again, we don't know the pick yet. But I like the fit of Walker next to, as I said, the Pacers get their starting power forward. It's a good sign because I was questioning the Koulibaly pick a little bit, but
All right, and the
it's
pick
going to
is
work out.
in. So let's see who the Utah Jazz
I'll remove the
make the
banner.
selection for. As Whitmore and Hendrick. Oh, they go to commercial? I thought. Oh my God, I really. I fucking got psyched out. I really got psyched. I really thought they were going to. Oh, I got faked out. I'm an idiot. That's okay though. That is okay.
No team has traded in yet, officially, right? Not during the draft process, except what we just announced,
Yeah.
obviously, with the 7 and 8 trade.
Luca, just give me 5 minutes. I really do apologize, but I will be
Yes.
hopping on. I'll have it on the big TV.
All right. All right. So John is going to depart for about a second as the Utah Jazz are up. Guys, again, if you haven't already, like, comment, subscribe, do all the good stuff. As we wait for this Jazz draft pick, as I said, Taylor Hendricks is my prediction. We'll see if I was right. Dallas up next, and then Orlando right after with their second selection. Jazz finished 12th in the West last season, about a bit shy of making the play-in. They have 3 first-round picks, the Jazz, obviously from the Rudy Gobert trade, partially 9, 16, and 28. Obviously, some notable free agents being Jordan Clarkson, being one of them. Taylor Horton Tucker, a bench piece as well. So we'll wait. Now we play the waiting game. As I'm pull up a spot track. 37 and 45 last season. Had a good start, but they fell off towards the end. At least they had an all-star in Lauri Markkanen. So there's at least one building block for the team. Rudy Gay is also a free agent. Want Toscano Anderson as well. Cam Whitmore still available, who I had selected at number 4. Could be an interesting pick here. Dallas is going to get Whitmore, aren't they? I don't know how the fit would be. I'd have to definitely look at the depth chart and measure it out. Definitely an athletic freak of nature. I doubt he start right away, but I'll do the Mavericks depth chart real quick and see where he would fit in specifically. As again, we're still on commercial. Let's see the Mavericks depth chart 2023. He could possibly fit probably off the bench. Um, Dwight, although Dwight Powell, Christian Wood, free agents, obviously they need to get a backup center or at least a starting center. Maybe they go after Derek Lively. I have them taking Jalen Hood Schifino as that backup point guard to Luka. Better defensive player and obviously a playmaker off the bench. They got shooting in Kleber and Josh Green off the bench. But I don't think they're going to make any real changes to their starting lineup unless they throw Hardaway at the 4 or put Reggie Bullock on the bench. So I doubt he is going to be that. So looks like we're getting back to the draft here as they're showing some pictures of Victor Wembanyama. Obviously, the very hyped up number 1 overall pick, even dressed in a Spurs uniform once he was a kid. So the Utah Jazz are coming up. I'm going to put up the banner as Commissioner Silver is walking to the podium. And with the 9th overall pick in the 2023 NBA draft, the Utah Jazz select player by the name of Taylor Hendricks, power forward out of UCF, and one of my predictions stands tall. Taylor Hendricks. I like this pick for the Jazz. I'll get to in a sec as I type up the selection here. Power forward out of UCF. I like this pick for the Jazz, as they will say again. So my biggest thing with Hendricks, obviously the prediction was right. Biggest strength is his defensive impact. He was the first player we actually covered on Prospect of the Week. Very good rim protector, mainly played a 5 at UCF. Is not much of a 5 at the NBA level. He'll probably play the 4 because Walker Kessler is obviously the starting center for the Utah Jazz, obviously rebuilding and retooling. You also can shoot the 3 ball a little bit. Sometimes his shooting and his finishing touch can be a little inconsistent, and that's the biggest weakness that probably stands out. But as I did in my analysis, I wrote it down. Utah will get a defensive stretch 4 to pair with Walker Kessler and effectively moves Kelly Olynyk to the bench. Obviously, Olynyk is a little more of a defensive liability. Hendricks will give you a lot of consistency there. Last season, around 15 points per game for Taylor Hendricks. I'm going to pull up the rest of the numbers right now. Last season for the UCF, Hendricks averaged about 15 points per game, 7 rebounds, and 1.4 assists. Main option in Florida's UCF's offense, 47% from the field, 39% from 3, 78% from the the free throw line, and an effective field goal percentage of around 55%, a little below average. But overall, I do like the swing here from the Utah Jazz as the Dallas Mavericks are coming up soon. Right after this, obviously with 10th overall, the Knicks pick did not convey, so they don't have a selection yet in the first round. So I'm just going to type this up here. Hey, guys, if you haven't already, hit the like button, subscribe, do all the good stuff. Tyler and Taylor Hendricks, twin brothers. But let me see where Tyler is. I believe he's on UCF as well. His twin brother. Yep, he is a freshman from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Must be happy for his brother. Maybe they're teammates someday, but Hendricks is actually a guard. And freshman did not get a lot of playing time, or if any. Let's see. How about them Yankees? Yeah, they're getting their ass kicked right now. As Dallas Mavericks pick is in. The only one of the draft, though, in the first round, as Angry John is back.
Sorry about that.
It's all right. All good, all good. Did you see that the Jazz have selected Taylor Hendricks?
I did, which means I was wrong.
Also, now I got to do my math here. I think I'm like 3 of 9, hitting 33%. I'm hitting 333 on the season.
You know what? This has gone better than my NFL mock draft. I'll say that.
That's true. And it's
stunk on those.
Oh yeah, it's also so funky because again the trade between the Wizards and the Indiana Pacers.
I don't know how to score those. I don't know. This is
who do you have the Dallas Mavericks selecting here, John?
Give me 1 sec to pull it up. I have the Mavericks. I believe it was Grady Dick, as it is Grady Dick. Yes, I have him going to the Dallas Mavericks.
Okay, so I actually have them taking Jalen Hood-Schifino, as I mentioned earlier, because of the defensive impact and the playmaking. He's going to be probably on the bench. Any player I think is selected here by the Mavericks will be on the bench, unless they go Cam Whitmore, which is interesting because Whitmore was rumored to be falling prior to the draft, or I should say prior to tonight, because
You.
most he didn't give off a very good impression in the interviews. They
Mhm.
said he was very serious, didn't really
Is there
smile, didn't
another
have much of
trade?
a personality. John, you'll be the one to tell us.
So Dallas is sending the number 10 pick in Davis Bertans to the Thunder, who move up to number 10.
Mm.
And Dallas moves back to number 12.
Dallas gets rid of extra salary. Looks like they're trying to get trying to re-sign Kyrie Irving.
Yeah, but they moved too much up.
That Bertans contract is horrible.
Yeah, remember everyone like thought he'd be like this uh fantastic like player just because he could shoot. He had like one good season in Washington.
Washington. It was his
Oh
contract year too.
yeah, who would have thought? Um,
Bertans, I want to see how much he's making per year. $16 million.
I was just gonna say I do see a lot of the Yankee fans in the chat, and I'm assuming that's because they're getting killed. And I just checked the score; it's 10-0. I just checked on ESPN.
Yeah.
So, but that's nevertheless that's not for tonight. But unless someone wants to yell about it in the comments, feel free to do so. But
Bertans actually played about 45 games. No, he didn't even wait. Did he? No, I'm sorry. He played 45 games last season. 43% from the field, not efficient, and 39% from downtown. Only 45 games though. So it's either he was injured or was he not. So John, I'm gonna have you take this selection.
all right, here's the commish. As now this is the pick that the Thunder are gonna get, or is he announcing the trade? Yeah, he's just. Oh, okay, they're just announcing that they're announcing the Wizards and Pacers picks that have been swapped, and that 2 seconds are future seconds are going to Indiana. One of them from the Beal trade, but this is the Mavs pick that's going to the Thunder. Is the Mavs set Case and Wallace? Okay,
So he's going to the Thunder.
yeah, he will be the Thunder. Jesus, I really hate when they just allow the new team to make the selection. It doesn't make any so stupid. They literally it's so dumb.
As we see John Calipari in the crowd. So I will pull it up here. Point guard Casson Wallace out of Kentucky. As he wasn't a Nick pick. I'm kidding. But
God.
things about Wallace. I actually had Wallace going 13th overall to the Raptors. Biggest strength, defense and passing, shot creation, and lack of burst are his main drawbacks. And I said that, again, this is not a Raptors pick. This was projected for myself to be a Raptors pick. That would be the replacement for Fred VanVleet. Now, I'm very interested to see how Case and Wallace fits in the rotation. Same thing with Bertans to fit in the Thunder rotation.
Right, and you mentioned Wallace out of Kentucky. You know the defense is there. The player comp that I had him a little kind of like a Drew Holiday
That's
kind of
fair.
player,
I've seen that. I've seen that too.
and I like that. He's got good defensive posture. He's tough, and he's just he's I'd say he's solid fundamentally as a
Yeah.
player. And then I guess I'll get into the negative. The weakness is like the shot off the dribble. He's not the best like 3-point shooter. I think he only shot like 34% in college. So again, needs to be able to generate the shot more, and he needs to be able to hit them more consistently.
Still a very good passer, obviously. He's not that fast off the dribble as I'm seeing. I also looked at the scouting reports prior, but he's pesky. Obviously can get to the rack when transition, disruptive. But again, not really fast, not a great shooter. But I think he'll be productive for off the Thunder bench. It is noted that I will say that Trey Mann had a very off year last year for the Oklahoma City Thunder, and there was like rumors: could he be out? Could he be not? But Mann was selected in 2021 as mainly a shooter and defense player. For a point guard, I'd imagine him starting sooner or later for the Thunder. But
Yeah, I agree on that. Yep.
I think Casson Wallace is going to be off the bench. I think he's going to be their point guard, and I think Bertans will replace Ousmane Deng off the bench unless he doesn't play at all. Now, I don't think honestly that the Thunder have much of a payroll, to be fair, or at least a salary cap, because most of their guys. I'm not sure if Gilgeous-Alexander's got a big contract yet. I think he probably has. Most of these guys are young on rookie deals.
Yeah,
So
no, I've been very, very impressed with what the Thunder have been able to build up, and it's not done because they still have plenty of picks in the future. But I love Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I might be like his biggest fan or advocate because I wanted him on the Knicks so badly
right.
because he's a fantastic player. Um, and I really like Josh Giddey too. I'm a supporter for him. But I think just the starting five, Dortz, you throw in Dortz, Williams, and then you get Chet Holmgren for his rookie year, and now you add Cason Wallace to the backcourt. You're starting to build some depth here. Maybe this is the time where the Thunder go sign a few veterans to fill out their bench, some solid role players that they could use because. You know what? I really could see the Thunder taking a leap this year. I could see it.
Yeah, I think they'll be in the back half of the West, but Orlando's pick is in. I'm gonna look at their first of all, the highest paid player on their roster is obviously Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, about $33.3 million on the base salary. Next is Lou Dort at around $15 million, $10 million for Chet Holmgren, and then from the rest down, it's $6 million and below. So obviously Bertans will be impacting that. But I'm just going to double check here with the active contracts and the cap tracker across the NBA. They rank 7 in cap space. They're about 10 below the cap or 10
By
above
the
the cap.
way, I have the last two picks incorrectly because I had the Magic. I had them taking Koulibaly with their second first. Oh, actually, I'm sorry, they haven't picked yet, so I'm sorry but no, it's still wrong though because Koulibaly's off the board, and I had the Thunder. I had them taking Taylor Hendricks, the forward out of Central Florida. So I'm already wrong in that regard. So unless the Dallas Mavericks take Grady Dick, but the Orlando Magic pick is in.
All right, so I'll call this one. The Magic select 11th overall in the 2023 NBA draft. Jet Howard. Wow, a little early, I think.
Guard out of Michigan.
I'm not sure how I feel about this one, John.
Well, I gotta go to my note on Jet Howard. Just give me a sec of what I had. Yeah, this is a bit of a reach, I guess some would say. But the good news is, he's a very good 3-point shooter. And he's a good shooter in general, I'd say. I think his best asset is his catch and shoot threat. Kind of a good IQ. And he will make the right play. He's not like a great passer, but he'll make the right pass if he has to. I guess the biggest flaw in his game is his defense, is he's just not fast enough on the perimeter sometimes, and I like to call it the flat foot defense.
Right.
So again, but the Magic, I understand why they would want to do it, because you go in, you got a glut in the backcourt, which means obviously they've already taken 2 guards. So obviously, some of those guys are getting shipped out. But you have a glut in the backcourt, and you look at that. Okay, we get Thompson, who's more of a not a shooter, but Jet Howard, he can come in maybe off the bench and hit perimeter shots. 41% from the field last year at Michigan, by the way.
Yeah, I think it was more of their main option. But the thing I like, obviously, with the 2 picks together, is they both complement each other. I doubt they're both in the starting lineup. Howard, obviously, more of the shooter, More of the defender is the other Thompson twin. So it pairs well. Obviously, Howard's not much of a passer. Thompson is. So
Mhm.
not a bad trade. Matt says the Knicks need to trade him for Cam Whitmore right now. He's there for the taking.
Mhm.
Depends. I don't think the Knicks will trade up. That's my opinion, but we'll see. I could be very wrong. But we do have a lot of assets. I'm just going to mention that.
That's true.
Massive
And
salutes to Tuda. What's going on, brother? To Luca and Little Johnny.
massive salute, my guy. Massive salute. Um, I mean, would you want the Knicks to trade for Cam Whitmore? Addressing Matt's comment, would you want that or?
Again, I always talk about like being aggressive and being aggressive for the right move. In terms of fit, I don't know where he fits, but on a potential star, I talked about being aggressive. This was one of my gripes from last year's draft. Why not? Why not?
Well, what are you going to give up for him? I mean, because they don't have a first this year, so it's
Right.
not like they're moving up. Um, I'm just trying
And
to think.
the question is, where does Whitmore fit in the rotation? That's my
Mhm.
asking thing.
I
Like, do
mean,
you?
I see him more as a three, as a small
Yeah,
forward.
I agree.
Um, even though I guess if you wanted to play small ball, you could get away with the power forward, but I just don't think he's big. Excuse me, I don't think he's big enough. Like I said, he's very athletic and he'll attack the basket. He's kind of one of those high flyers.
Yeah,
Uh, it kind of reminds. I'm not. This isn't the player comp for him, but it kind of reminds me of a Blake Griffin player first, where he's best in transition.
right.
Um, and you know what? He was a pretty good rebound. I think he averaged like 5 bounds in college.
He did.
Um, so again, it would be an interesting fit, but I'm just asking, what would you give up for Cam Whitmore?
Um, I mean, the Knicks have a shit ton of seconds. Do you give up a first next year? Obviously, you don't know if that Washington first is going to convey. Some people compare Whitmore to a Jerry Stackhouse or a Justice Winslow. I mean, the athletic profile, yes, but I think Winslow's more defensive minded, and
Maybe,
Stackhouse is obviously more of the scorer type.
maybe even like I'd say more of a. I'm trying to think who would be a really good comp for if Whitmore, just because he's falling. Maybe a Miles Bridges.
You
He's a
could,
high flyer and with the
yeah,
Hornets, so that's what they've gotten out of him so far in his career. It's funny when back at that draft, the Kevin Knox draft, which didn't really want to mention, but I guess since it's draft night and we really don't have a pick. Um,
yeah,
I was hoping we got one of the Bridges and we ended up with Knox, and I was like, oh yeah, no,
yeah, yeah,
didn't really work
yeah.
out. Didn't really work out.
My tab's being slow. Just give me one second. I'm trying to find like some because I have NBA Draft Net loading slowly, like some other comparisons for Cam Whitmore.
Mm-hmm.
But he definitely would. Now I got it loaded. He would definitely be a fun player for the Knicks to add. I just don't know where he fits because Tibbs doesn't innovate. Just gonna say that. Karan Butler. I don't say NBA Draft Net says he's a Jay Crowder. I disagree. Karan Butler a little understandable.
Karan, but that's a name I haven't heard in a while. Wow, Karan Butler.
But Crowder's more defensively
Yeah,
motivated,
and
or
he's much bigger
oriented.
too. He's much bigger.
Yeah. All right. So
Is there?
they'll have Wembanyama on set.
I think they're going to commercial now with the. Yep, they're showing Victor Wembanyama. But guys, thank you again for joining us on draft night. We're about, I'd say, what, a third of the draft done, around there, maybe a
Yeah.
little more. So, thank you for sticking it out tonight. Because I know, especially a lot of the Yankee fans cannot bear them right now, and it's fun. If you guys have any NBA questions with either trades or prospects, let us know. We'll give our thoughts, or if you have any comments, please shoot away. And if you're new, make sure you subscribe and like this video.
Of course, of course, of course.
Good time for a good water. So who had the next pick? This is the pick that's going in the trade to Dallas,
Si,
which
senor.
which I said they should. I think they should take Grady Dick, the quote unquote best shooter in the draft. I think most scouts have it like that.
Yeah.
And you're assuming, I'm assuming Kyrie is not gonna be coming back to Dallas. That's my assumption. I could be way wrong, but I don't think he is. I think he does test the market. And I don't even know if Dallas is like fully. I know they just traded the cap, which would make it seem like it, but they could be going after someone else. You don't know that. But I think Grady Dick would be a perfect guy on that bench for them to knock down perimeter shots because, you know, uh, they had a lot of like just guys that were supposed to score and help out, just not do that
Right.
last year. And I know the defense was bad too, but so there's a couple of different directions they could go. Derek Lively here as a big if they wanted to. I believe there was a report saying that they weren't going to re-sign Christian Wood, if I'm
Yeah,
not
that's
mistaken.
not going to happen. He's not
Yeah,
coming back.
so he's already gone. Um, I guess you still have Bullock and Hardaway, but again, this team lacks depth. So
Right. Pick is in for Oklahoma City. I'm just going to mark it in the little thing here. But you have the Mavericks selecting Grady Dick. Funny enough, I have the Thunder selecting Grady Dick.
okay, so if the Thunder were to take him here, does that count as a half for you?
I mean, technically, yes. It would technically count as a half for you too.
So yeah, we next time when we do a draft, we got to come up with rules. We got to come up with a system.
A little more better system, definitely.
Yeah, because this is too
Like,
confusing. Because you know what? At least in the NFL, when the pick is traded, they'll like announce it, and
yeah.
not, they won't just announce it, but like that team will actually make the pick.
All right, John.
All
Take it
right,
away.
here comes the commish, and with the 12th pick in this year's 2023 draft, the Thunder's pick that's going to the Mavs is going to be Derek Lively. Okay,
Center
so
out of Duke.
I wasn't completely. I mean, off. I did say Lively's an option here, but I guess that's a one that's wrong for me. Is Lively is now a Dallas Maverick.
What's going on, Joel? Hope all is well, brother.
What's up, my
Big Blue
man?
Crew. Big Blue Crew again, guys. If you haven't already sub his channel as well. But this will be going to Dallas. Now, the reason I in my mock draft did not select Lively for the Mavericks is I thought they would go out and get a center via trade market, like trade for Miles Turner, because obviously if you Luka and Kyrie, you don't want to waste them on trying to develop a guy. So Lively, it seems like maybe is their starting center. Not one, but two centers are hitting the free agent market, John. Dwight Powell and Christian Wood.
That's right. And in terms of what like Lively brings, remember coming out of Duke, from not the not the Coach K Duke anymore,
Right.
but he's a seven. I think what was he 7'1" if I'm not mistaken. Hold up, I gotta look at his measurements. What I had here, yeah, he's 7'1". He had a 7'7" wingspan, so that was pretty good. But what he brings up, he can finish around the basket, and which is very good for the pick and roll offense. And he's pretty athletic. Like he's not just some 7-footer that's gonna move slowly. This guy's an athletic guy, and he's decent in the low post too, which is not a bad threat at times. But I want to see him. I want him to improve on the rebounding. You're a 7-footer. He averaged like 5 rebounds a game. Just have more aggression in there. Like he has the body to do it, but you know, crash the glass more.
Yeah.
That's my.
I say I'll just give me 1 second.
Mhm.
I was gonna say maybe he's that rim protector, that pick and roll,
Mhm.
maestro that can be paired along with Luca and Kyrie.
That could
So
be.
it's not a bad pick it's not a bad pick, but I just thought that the Mavericks would definitely, sign a veteran center to be that starting
Yeah.
guy. Maybe they draft a backup. But Powell was a liability defensively, so was Christian Wood. So they're going back to their defensive interior kind of philosophy almost. So It's not a bad pick. It's not.
No, not. I don't think it's a bad pick at all. I like Lively. I thought he would be better at the start of the year, in college, but he just, I guess, didn't have it, and hence why he's at pick 12, or I guess 10, however you want to say it. But again, not a bad pick for the Mavs here. Very good player, I think.
Lively is compared to some guys like Jackson Hayes, Tyson Chandler, Willie Cauley Stein.
All right.
Excuse me, Tyson Chandler, former Maverick. Willie Cauley Stein, former Maverick. Let me see some other pro comparisons. NBA Draft Net says, let's see, it's slow loading again. Bleacher Report says their pro comparison for Derek Lively is Mark Williams, which makes a lot of sense. They're both
Okay.
Duke rim protectors. Couldn't have been that hard to figure out.
Right. And so we guess we move on to the next team, the Toronto Raptors, and Luca. Who did you have them selecting?
Well, unfortunately, John, it's a loss for me either way because the player I had them selecting is gone, and that was Casson Wallace.
Okay. Well, I still have a chance. I think the Raptors are going to take Kobe Buffkin, the sophomore out of Michigan. And with Buffkin, he's a shooting guard, and you look at what the Raptors have and don't have. Obviously, Van Vliet is going to leave. That's how it sounds like.
Right.
So that's a guard that's out. They bring back Gary Trent Jr., who maybe they start, but I really do like him in that bench role that he has. You got OG, who I don't know if they're going to keep him.
Yeah,
There has been some trade rumors the past year. It's really a mystery. So I wouldn't be surprised they held on to him, but I could also see him getting traded this offseason. Now, obviously, your two big pieces, Scotty Barnes and obviously their best player, Pascal Siakam. And Jacob Poeltl is a free agent, but I could see them being re-signed by the Raptors. I could also see him walking. But the reason I like, Buffkin in this spot, I like his ability to be an off-ball scorer, someone that doesn't need to control it as much as with the ball in his hands. You like those kind of players, so I think he'd be a good fit in Toronto's system. I think they had a down year and they're expecting better next year. So again, a guy that can give him a scoring prowess. Maybe he's a starter, maybe he's off the bench to start his career, but we'll see how that turns out. And remember, as they showed here, I was just about to mention, new coach Nick Nurse is no longer
with the team.
So
obviously it's I think Rajakovic is his name, but the Raptors pick is in. As I said, point guard is my presumption, but you said Kobe Buffkin. Buffkin I have at 23 going to the Blazers. Obviously in my mock trade.
That's wow, 23. I guess this is where we defer a lot.
All right, so Toronto Raptors pick is in. With the 13th overall pick in the 2023 NBA draft, the Toronto Raptors select a player by the name of Grady Dick, guard, Kansas.
All right, so I wasn't, I had the right mindset, just not the right player. They get more of the shooter here and Grady Dick.
Interesting.
Right, chalk that one up as a loss. Dang.
I'll say this in a second as I'm going to type this out. Grady Dick. That's a good name, by the way. Kind of comical.
I wonder what announcer's going to have a field day with his name.
All right, just put 13 in there. The old Raptors with Nick Nurse, I didn't envision him as a pick, but I will say this: in total, I guess maybe Darko Rajakovic, or let me just double check and I get his name right. Yeah, Darko Rajakovic. I think he maybe want to push the pace because Dick is not a guy who likes to play in slow-paced offenses. He's more of a quick guy, comes off screens, goes off the ball. Very fast-paced offense. Kansas was, and he just breathes like I'm not gonna like see if I can compare him to a former Kansasite himself, like Christian Braun, but it's just like he almost breathes that pick. I think Dick is a little less defensively, but offensively, he's got a lot to offer.
He's a shooter. 40% from three last year with the Jayhawks. So, and that, like I said earlier, he's probably the best shooter in this draft. And you can never have him. You can never have enough shooting in this league.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Elite shooter, versatility, ways he can score. So the the main concern is I have actually Grady Dick going earlier to it
Mhm.
was number 12 with OKC. His biggest strength, an elite 3-point shooter, shooting 40% from three. Lack of shot creativity, but he was more given reps off the ball, and he was mainly used on cuts. That's why you didn't see a lot of actions run with him, ball handling. But let's see. He's a pure shooter, so that's good for Toronto at least. Now I'm just questioning what they do at point guard, and Dick is not a point guard.
No, he's not. He's a shooting guard. So Luca, I already have the next pick incorrectly. Um, I had the next pick being Case and Wallace, but that's off the board now. Um, so feel free to share yours, but I'm already incorrect.
Mine is Jordan Hawkins.
Hawkins, okay, that's not a bad pick, I'd say. As Nick's Nation says, imagine having the last name Dick. I'm sorry, but that's fucking crazy.
It's hilarious. I'm not
It
gonna
is.
lie to you. It's kind of hilarious.
Hey, we got some breaking Mets news.
Oh
About an
boy.
hour ago, it broke. I haven't been on Twitter. Tyler Miguel has been optioned to AAA. Hmm. Okay, then. Bye bye. You suck. The issue is, I have no clue. Please bring back up Lucchese, man. I can bring him back up. He's better than Miguel. Sorry, I couldn't after yesterday's game really frustrated me. I could not sit there and watch that nonsense.
Yeah, he was
But
so ineffective.
thank God,
So ineffective.
God, it was so bad, so bad, so bad. Nevertheless, we move on as the Pelicans are on the clock. Who did you say again? You said the
Jordan Hawkins.
Hawkins. Okay, well, let's see. As pick is not in yet. Um, Nick's Nation says, "Have you seen Woman Beater on today?" Yeah, I watched
Um,
it. Oh, wait,
we got a trade again.
I'm trying to see because they have Woj on. No, they're just talking about Zion.
Oh, that
I
whole
think.
nonsense. Give me 1 second. I'm just gonna throw this out.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see if Woj is trying to sneak in a trade there, but they're just talking about Zion, 190 at a 194 again. Matt Riley says, "I honestly don't know why Whitmore is dropping. He was really the only good player that was on that Villanova team. I think Lucas said it a little earlier that people weren't liking either his work ethic, or his interviews went really badly. So maybe unless there's some like off the court thing that hasn't broke, which happens all the time. You never even know. Which I'm hoping that's not the case for anyone. So um, again, we don't know why he's dropping, but that's supposedly why. And Nick's Nation says, please trade Zion Pelicans. So you want him off the Pelicans? I don't want him with the Knicks. I don't want him with the Knicks.
No, I'm
Give it
good.
as Luka. I don't want Zion. He just again, you see the graphic right here. 194 games he's missed. 194. That is so bad. So
That's like
bad.
that's like Greg Oden type shit.
Yeah, no, that I mean, I hate to put out the name Greg Oden, but yeah, pretty
As we wait
bad.
on the Pelicans pick, it is in. But I know you were talking about Cam Whitmore. Obviously, as I mentioned earlier, he's dropping obviously to 14, which I would not expect. As I said, it was the interview process. Some scouts said he could go from anywhere to like 4 to fucking 20. That's how far he could drop.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, we have to see why. I'm sure. It either has to be interviews or, like I said, something had to break um, of where there's some off the court news that we just don't even know about. Because they're right now, even the broadcast is talking about Cam Whitmore.
It's
Because
just
even
stunning.
yeah, no, like this guy was like I had him in the top 10, and we're at pick 14, and it's like, ugh. But
Knicks Nation says not to the Knicks, but nobody watches the Pelicans. He needs to go somewhere where there's pressure on him to play.
uh,
I agree with that.
no, yeah, I can imagine why.
As we're still waiting on these Pelicans.
The pick is in. They're just too busy talking about the Cam Whitmore drop. I guess that's this year's player to drop.
All
I'll
right,
never.
John, you have it.
All right, let's see who the Pelicans select here with the 14th pick. And they announced in the trade. Yeah, they're
No,
announcing the Mavericks
yeah.
Thunder deal with the Bertans. Yeah. Come on. God. So
I hate
stupid.
when this shit is announced like so slow.
It's announced so later, but with the 14th pick, the New Orleans Pelicans will select in this year's draft Jordan Hawkins.
I'm
Wow, you
right.
nice. You caught that one. Uh, remember this guy did win
Oh,
a
college championship.
college championship last year on those Yukon Huskies. So I'm pretty sure one of our regulars, Jacob, who's not. I don't think.
Jacob loved talking about him.
Yeah, I know he does. But like I said with Jordan Hawkins, as I'm trying to pull up where I even had him, I think I had him in like the I think I had him in the later part of the first round. Um, so again with Hawkins, I really do like his ability to be a shooter in this league. He's got a
He's
really good
pure.
release. Um, and he's just a very smart player too, and can score off the without the ball. So good offensive spacing for him. Um, and again, like I said, the 3-point shooting. The only problem is he's not really much of a ball handler, and he's not like a guy that's gonna be a dribbler. He's not like a true point guard. Probably more of a shooting guard, but then again, he's only 6'4", so he's a bit undersized. So it's kind of hard to gauge where he's going to be. But a very good shooter is Hawkins. As
Right.
Luka, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say like we did Hawkins for a prospect of the week. He was phenomenal shooter, pure shooter. But just so pure. That shot looks so pure coming off. It's like the shot kind of reminds me of like Norman Powell, but as I see, they're comparing him to former UConn player Richard Hamilton,
Richard
um,
Hamilton.
Rip Hamilton, who obviously played for the Pistons in the finals. Obviously going back to the 04, but
04, yep.
even they're even comparing him now to Ray Allen, like just how smooth the jumper is. Not even the
No, yeah,
player, how
it
smooth.
looks really smooth. So and it looks effortlessly. And again, I didn't think Hawkins would go this high, but teams really will value shooting. So congrats for Mr. Hawkins, and it looks like the Atlanta Hawks are now on the clock.
Yeah, Hawkins obviously, as we said, he's going to be a contributor right now.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
that's
What
good
was
pick.
is he what year was he in his college?
I'll look that up for you.
I think he was a sophomore. He was a
I
sophomore.
think, yeah, he was. He might have been a sophomore, but he was like a one and done guy. To be fair, I'll double check for you. He was actually played 2 years. I believe he was a sophomore.
But yeah, they even have some of the improvements. They gave him more minutes. He's scoring a lot more, and there you can see the man had tears in his eye. So good for Mr. Hawkins.
So just gonna pull up the Atlanta Hawks real quick because they are next on the clock. And guys, if you're not, I'm just gonna say this for the record. If you have notifications on Twitter from Shams or Woj, just And if you don't want to be spoiled, just mute their notifications because it tends to happen to everybody in the draft process, whether that's
It's
NBA or
so
NFL.
annoying now. I have to say, like, and don't get me wrong. I don't mind. Okay, I obviously Twitter has its purpose, and all like these breaking news stuff has its purpose. But if I'm like watching something, like I don't want it to be spoiled.
Yeah.
I think it's like a really big thing that's so freaking annoying now.
It's like you want to turn off Twitter or you want to turn off.
Yeah. No,
Just,
literally, that's pretty much it.
so the pick is in for the Atlanta Hawks
Mhm.
as we play the waiting game.
Who did I have the Hawks selecting?
I should check that too.
I had them selecting Mr. Jalen Hood Shafino.
I have them drafting Nick Smith.
Nick Smith, the guard out of Arkansas. As Atlanta's, going into them, I think they majorly disappointed this year. Finishing 41-41. Obviously, there are rumors that Trae Young's unhappy. And then you go out. They acquired DeJounte Murray. John Collins has been unhappy for the longest there. Clint Capella has kind of dropped off, in my opinion. Their pick last year, AJ Griffin. I think he was a bit of a disappointment in his rookie season. I don't think he had the best rookie year. Again, just a disappointing team. Knicks Nation says he thinks it's Cam Whitmore.
All right, let's see. Hawks at 15. The Atlanta Hawks, 15th overall, select a player by the name of Kobe Bufkin, guard, Michigan.
All
Interesting.
Right. So
this is kind of where I expected him to go.
Yeah,
although I had him a little bit later.
I had him a little bit earlier, but I just so close. Damn, this is where my draft really starts to fall apart.
Good for Bufkin. He's going to be like that. Team has revamped shooting now, but that team's full of shooters. You have Trae Young, you have AJ Griffin. I think you still have Sadiq Bey. I'm just going Bogdanovich, as you said. Let me just look at the overall depth chart as well. Young, Hunter, Sadiq Bey, Bogdanovich, and now you add Griffin. Obviously, Griffin from last year, now Kobe Bufkin this year. So that's not bad for scoring. Defensively, we got to see where they're at.
And like I said, when you have a ball dominant point guard like Trae Young, you really need to get guys that can be off ball scorers. And Bufkin is exactly what you need in that. He's not afraid to go attack the rim. He's been more aggressive in that, but he can also shoot. There was a player comparison which I really found interesting because the more like I read it, the more I kind of saw it on some of his highlights. Reminds me a little bit of Tyrese Maxey on the Sixers. A little bit.
I thought Bufkin is more of like a off the dribble scorer. Maxey I see more of like more of a shooter. That's how I see it because I think Bufkin's game is a little more smooth. That's my opinion. Not that Maxey wasn't, but I just like his off the dribble game just a little more. And the things I wrote down for Bufkin, his main strength is scoring. We obviously see that. His biggest weakness is actually his strength. He stands at the moment 6'5". He weighs about 195 pounds. So we'll have to bulk up.
Yeah. And again, I think he went for. They show it here, but I had it. He went from like 3 to 14 points his freshman to sophomore year, and it was his shooting percentage went up by like 10%, and his 3-point percentage that they show in the graphic, it's up by 14%. So he got really efficient and much better in that sophomore jump. So made the right pick, it looks like, here for the Hawks. As Nick Nation says, he reminds me of Fox for some reason. Okay, that's a bit of an interesting comparison. I don't really necessarily agree with that, but that's necessarily. And Matt Riley says, Lakers pick at 17 and are going to get one of the best players in the draft. Are you referring to Whitmore, I'm assuming?
Let me see how we would fit because I have the Lake. I'm gonna pull up the Lakers depth chart here. The Jazz
Hmm.
pick is in, by the way.
Yes.
Lakers. They Austin Reeves obviously could get a bag elsewhere. So is there a possibility that they pick Whitmore to be their two guard?
I really do like Austin Reeves, though. I really do
Oh, I
like
do
him.
too.
Um, I I really does depend if he's there or not. That really does. Um, Whew. I guess if that's what they're planning for, if they don't think they're going to get him, yeah, I think Whitmore would be the right pick. Um, but I had not trying to skip over Utah, but the Lakers. I actually had them taking Jordan Hawkins, but
Okay.
that pick is now wrong. So there goes for me. Who did you have the Jazz taking?
I have the Jazz taking Keontae George.
Wow. Okay, because I have the Jazz taking Keontae George.
All right, we'll see if
So,
obviously that this comes true. The Jazz pick is in. I had the Hawks
as
selecting Nick Smith, and who did you have them taking?
I'm sorry. I had them taking Wallace, or
Casson Wallace.
yeah, Wallace. I think I said that's what I said. I didn't check, but
All right.
like I said, I think so. Going to the Utah Jazz, who do they originally take? With their first pick?
Excuse me. Taylor Hendricks.
Hendricks, the forward. I think they now go guard here. Um, with Keontae George, as me and you both agree on the pick, and we can get a little into Keontae George, as I view him, Luca, more as a guy that could space the floor. I think he's got good, I think he's a very good ball handler,
Yeah.
and he's very crafty and shifty. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Bradley Beal, not necessarily um, in terms of he's gonna score 40, like he could score 30 or 40. But
Right.
I really do like his arsenal. I earlier we were talking about RJ Barrett. He doesn't have like the best offensive weaponry, or I guess creativity. I like this guy. I've seen him do pull ups, the step back jumper, um, and then combine that with the ball handling. I really like his creativity offensively to finish for himself, because he's also ambidextrous on the
Right.
touch. And then the major knock I said he has is basically I don't think he's that athletic, and I think that can hurt him defensively.
Mhm.
So, um, but I think the upside for George is really good. I
Yeah.
really
Defensively, he's actually got some upside as well. Scoring is his main go-to, but the big
well,
concern is the one of the bigger concerns was I think he shot like I want to say like 37% from the field, but that was also because of his role at
mhm,
Baylor because he took so many difficult shots, and
right.
that was in the offense, I guess. 37% from the field and 33% from three. So the percentage is not great, but again, you buy into the talent
No, yeah,
in a much reduced role.
I could see Keontae George's the numbers get progressively better just because of the skill set he possesses.
Right.
Um, and I think that'd be an excellent pick for Utah, as their pick is in, but the commissioner has not announced it. Just another reminder, guys. Thank you again for all your support, as we did hit 1,200 subscribers this week. I think we're over that we're at 1,206. I haven't checked today, so we could be more, could even be less. Although, knocking on wood, it's not. And also, for any of the members watching tonight, I will have a Mets Yankees series recap right after the draft. So, for the members, you get a bonus video tonight. So, either that will be uploaded tonight or uploaded in the morning.
All right. So they're showing Victor Wembanyama obviously throughout the first pitch of the Yankee game.
Yeah, I was a little confused to why, though,
Yeah,
if
I
I'm being
understand.
honest. I get he's a big star that's being talked about, and he's in New York for the draft, but he's not. playing for the Knicks or Nets. So don't know. Could you see the Jazz also getting Cam Whitmore here?
Possibly for like it'd be a great value pick. Don't get me
No,
wrong.
you're right, because I don't think anyone had Whitmore falling out of the top 15.
Knicks Nation says Lakers are really trying to win. They should trade their pick if someone really wants Whitmore.
That's right.
Interesting. Makes sense.
Up, the
So
pick is in. As the 16th pick, the Utah Jazz will select Keontae George. All
yes,
right, let's go.
Air
Right.
fist
That's
bump.
right. We got it
All
right. We got it right. Guard out of Baylor, and like we said, I really like his upside with all his offensive weaponry. But he also did win that national championship with Baylor. So, what was that, like 2 years ago?
Yeah, with Davion Mitchell, it was Jared Butler as well.
Yep, you're right. Matt Riley says baseball talk. Bleh. And Nick Nason says, "Yeah, wow, George, there it is." I'm like, "Well, yeah, finally, we've missed on a few picks now for a little while."
Yeah, I got the Hawkins pick. I'm going to try to calculate here. So I got the Wembanyama pick right, of course.
Yeah, we
missed out on number 2 and number 3. Missed out on number 4. Missed out on number 5. Wait, hold on. Did I? No, I don't think I did. I didn't miss out on number 5 because it was Asar, not Amon. So 1 and 5 I've got right. I moved to 7. I was technically right because Jarris Walker is now a Pacer.
That means I was technically right too.
So 1, 5, 7, 9 with Utah Jazz selecting Taylor Hendricks. 2, 3, and number 14.
4. So I got 1 right, and then I had like 4 to 6 right because I got the Thompson twins correct, and I got Anthony Black correct. Then I had the Walker trade. Are we counting that as a half or a full?
I guess you want to count as a half.
So 6.5. Okay. And then I didn't get anything right. Nothing. Did I get anything in the trade right? No, I did not. So we're at 7.5. So not horrible. Not horrible. But it's been like, that was like the first pick I've had correct since that trade.
Yep. So Keontae George selected. Let me change it. It was 16. Yes, it was. I was correct.
Matt Riley says Miami is after LA. Maybe they trade that 18th for Dame. That's possible. I forgot. Where did they get that 18th pick from? Where did they get it from?
That's Miami's pick. That's
Where's that? Because they got it in a trade.
That's not their original pick, obviously.
No. I'm trying to think where they got it from. Who's that via? Who did they make a big trade?
I will do that right now. So 18 NBA draft order.
They don't even say it. Oh, it's so stupid. They don't even say it in like.
Let me get it up on Tankathon.
Yeah.
The 18th pick was. It doesn't say like. It says it's Miami's, like straightforward.
How is that possible?
It doesn't seem possible.
Hold on. What? Here's the mystery. All right, hold up.
Yeah, it's so weird because usually if you go to the finals, you don't have a pick that high.
Yeah, something's off. Hold up.
What's good, Jacob?
What's up, my man?
Listening to you all on my way home from the internship. My boy Hawk went in the lottery. Yes, he did. Jordan Hawkins at the very end.
Maybe they traded back for it, or I don't even freaking whatever. I'm not even going to speculate.
Nick Nation says his prediction for the Lakers is James Inaji, the center from Nigeria.
Who did I have the Lakers taking? Well, imagine they get Cam Whitmore. That would be
interesting.
Very, very interesting.
It goes by record, not where they lose in the playoffs. Makes sense then.
Yeah. I had the Lakers taking Hawkins here, so I'm wrong. But you know what? I think it'd be the smart move for them to take Cam Whitmore here.
Oh,
I
by the
really,
way, I'm just gonna say I'm wrong too because I have them selecting Jet Howard.
Matt Riley says it goes by record, not where they lose in the playoffs. No, that doesn't wait. That's the dumbest thing ever, if that's true. I really thought it's also depending on where you finish in the playoffs.
It usually is though. Usually, in like other leagues.
Yeah, if that's true, Matt, that's really stupid. I have to say.
Any Knicks rumors asks Jacob. The answer is no as of now. Nothing.
I can give a quick look on anything. I don't think there is, but again, we had the Paul George rumors earlier, which I like to say no, thank you. But that was like earlier this morning. Are the Knicks interested in Dante DiVincenzo? Is that what
Yes.
Begley's saying?
Yeah, that's what Begley was saying.
Okay. I don't see any new rumors here.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything recently.
Yeah, I don't see anything new. Looks like it's going to be a quiet draft for them because they don't even have a first.
As we head to commercial, I have no idea what the Lakers are doing. Okay, guys, if you don't want to get spoiled, just mute your notifications from Woj and Shams, and also Jake Fisher, but not many people have notifications for Fisher. Would you trade RJ, Ob, Fournier, and a pick for George or Levine?
Wait, let me see that. RJ, Obi, Fournier, and a pick for George. Who would I rather have? I think I'd rather have Zach LaVine.
Levine is younger. I'm just going to take this banner off the board real quick. I'd rather not trade for either if you want me to be fair, because I think
No,
there's better
yeah, I'm
picks
just
out there.
picking one. I wouldn't pull the trip. That's actually not the worst idea for that. I mean, because you think about it, the only player of use we would it depends on the pick we give up.
Right.
But like if it's a protected first, I'll do it. But like I really don't like. Well, that means you're keeping Randall then if you trade RJ.
Yeah, which I'm not honestly the biggest fan because if you're solidifying mid at that point if you're giving up that much.
Right, and because Ob, I think we both agreed needs to
Find another place.
Yeah, I think that my opinion on Frenchie Fournier.
Yes. As the Lakers are up to bat,
pick is in.
With the 17th overall pick in the 2023 NBA draft, the Los Angeles Lakers select a player by the name of Jalen Hood-Schifino, guard, Indiana.
So that means that still nothing on Cam Whitmore.
So odd.
No, I think it is. I think it is as well.
I had him going earlier, as in Schifino. What's up, Crackle Nuts? How's everything? Hope all
Crackle
is well.
Nuts, my guy.
As he gets a hug from former Knick coach Mike Woodson.
Was that Mike Woodson? Yes, it is.
Yeah, he's the coach for he's Indiana's coach.
That's right. I actually really forgot about that.
Yeah. Geez, Cam must have an injury. It's got to be something, man. It's got to be something.
Booyah is saying it's a good pick for the Lakers. Yeah, I think Hood-Schifino is a good player. I think that's a solid pickup there.
He's not too flashy. He's just solid.
Mm-hmm. Crackle Nuts asked any big news in the NBA today. Well, it's just the draft right now. No trades really happened in the draft. But earlier, you had the Kristaps Porzingis going to the Boston Celtics with like Marcus Smart, and it was like a 3-team deal. Marcus Smart's a Grizzly now, And, you had another trade where the Wizards flipped Chris Paul, so he's now a Golden State Warrior. And in return, they got some picks and Jordan Poole. So those are the major moves of the day, I would say.
You think Miami's passing up on Cam Whitmore?
I mean, imagine they. I don't know. I mean, I didn't. I had. Who did you have Miami selecting? I gotta go back to my.
I have them trading the pick because I have the Lillard trade kind of thing.
Okay.
But in that
I
spot, I would have Noah Clowney being selected by the Blazers.
Clowney. So I don't have Noah Clowney. I actually have him in like a pick or two later. But I have the Heat selecting a senior. I don't know if the first name is if it's Jamie or Jaime. For me,
Vasquez?
Jack
No.
Jacquez Jr. I think that's the correct pronunciation if I remember. The senior out of UCLA.
Emmy Vasquez Jr.
Right. So again, he's the what's it called? The senior out of UCLA. He's 6'6", so he's more of a forward, if anything. I see him more as a 3.
Yeah.
But again, I don't know if they're gonna pass up on Whitmore.
Right.
I really I don't know how much more you can pass up on him.
Jaime Jaquez. I thought it was
Jaime Jaquez is how you pronounce it.
I don't know why I thought it was Vasquez for a second, but it's Jaime Jaquez. I think the Heat take Nick Smith Jr. I had Smith going at 15 to the Hawks.
Wait, I'm sorry. Who did you have? I just blanked out.
You had a Brian moment.
I had a Brian moment.
I said, Cracklenut says he thinks the Heat that take Nick Smith Jr. because of his scoring. I said that the Hawks would take Nick Smith Jr. I said, where did you have him at?
Nick Smith Jr., let me take a look. I actually had him going with the second pick that Brooklyn had to the Brooklyn Nets.
Okay. All right. Okay. And for Miami, obviously I said they're going to trade the pick, in my opinion, for this Damian Lillard stuff.
Doesn't look like that's happening now. Unless, hold up, here's Woj. Oh, so here's the knocks on Whitmore. Some poor workouts and some not great interviews. And that's why his stock has dropped.
I knew about the interviews part. Did not know about the poor workouts part. But I will say this. The Knicks should just get him because he's from Villanova. I mean, we have Brunson. We could add DiVincenzo this offseason. We have Josh Hart. So
I mean,
it would be perfect. But in all seriousness, if the Knicks traded up for Whitmore, I'd be very happy. But I don't expect them to. So Miami's still rolling on the clock with about 1:10 to go. Leonard Miller ain't bad, Knicks Nation. Where do I have him? Give it a sec. I have Miller, I think, going to the Celtics, 25. The Heat pick is in, by the way.
Yes, as I will announce it once the commission comes up. But that's crazy to think that a top player could drop like that just because of interviews. And I'll never forget. I know it's the different story. You remember the Laramie Tunsil draft?
Yeah.
Where he was supposed to go in the top 5. He fell to 13, 14. Everyone was panicking because of the weed video.
Yeah.
And look how great he turned out. He's pretty good actually still.
Yep. Whitmore just waiting right there. He's like, when am I going to get the fucking call? I mean, Hawkins went ahead of him. I'm looking at the other shooting guards. Thompson's went ahead of him.
Mm-hmm. Grady Dick went ahead of him.
Grady Dick.
George.
Cassie Wallace. Keontae George, as you said.
Mm-hmm. As the pick is in, as we're still just waiting on the commissioner to announce the Eastern Conference champion, Miami Heat. Clearly, it's not Whitmore since they showed him not on the phone. I mean, you don't know that. You don't know that necessarily, but it is a good guesstimation. Let's see. Do. Remember, guys, like and subscribe if you haven't already to this video. Another thank you for your support. And Crackle Nuts, yep, throwing in the baseball. He's saying the Yankees suck, but the Mets suck worse. Yeah, but I'm pretty happy with the Mets now. They just optioned Miguel to AAA as the big news of the day. So see ya. Wouldn't want to be ya. I'm just I'm just waiting for the I'm just gonna be doing the happy dance when they finally DFA Carlos Carrasco, but that may
John,
never.
you're up.
Here's the 18th pick, and with the 18th pick, the Miami Heat will select Jaime Jaquez Jr.
You said they would get him, right?
That is absolutely correct. So I guess that means no Cam Whitmore still, but I was correct on that. And with I'll go up to notes I had on Jaquez Jr., as it's pronounced. Where is my notes? Come on. Where did I have it? Right here. So with Jaquez Jr., again, good fundamental guy. Good, it's kind of weird for a guy of his size. He's got very good footwork. And some of the moves I saw, he likes to. He's very crafty, and he likes to use fakes and pivots a lot to try and move defenders off. And that's how he is able to generate space. And he had a decent post up game too. And because of that size, he could bully some of his defenders. The biggest question mark with him is the inconsistent 3-point shooting, as he doesn't have the fastest release.
Yeah.
And it was like, I think his 3-point percentage was hovering around 31%. So again, not much of a shooter, but a guy that can possibly provide the Heat some value off the bench, as they usually do find guys in the draft or even undrafted.
Yeah, they like those diamonds in the rough, to be fair. Like those guys who are versatile, can do a little bit of everything. I think it's a good fit, especially with Spoelstra. He can have him do a lot of things.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, that's. So I'm at 8.5 picks right.
Okay, so let's do my math.
I'm just gonna be right back and grab some water. I'll be right. I need more H2O.
Yes. All right. So I have pick number 1 right, first overall. I've got 5th overall correct. I have technically 7th overall correct, but so I'm going to go 2.5. Hendricks 3.5. With Hawkins, it's technically 4.5, and 5.5 for Keontae George. Now, I think there was a scenario that there was a trade going on, and I completely forgot about it. Oh, that's right. It's 6. Technically, John, I got 6 right because remember, Grady Dick was traded to Dallas.
No, you're right. You're right on that.
As Golden State is up as they're talking to Jaime Jaquez Jr.
Well, yes, disgruntled 8.5 because we didn't come up with any scoring for like players involved with trades, so we're just counting it as halves.
Because these players, get traded. Like they draft, let's just say they draft the Thunder drafted Grady Dick, which technically was my prediction. John had the Mavericks drafting Grady Dick. The Thunder traded Grady Dick to the Mavericks. So it's kind of like a half on our parts. We're kind of half right.
Half right, yeah.
So we put like a half on that.
That's right. As Crackle Nut says, Meatball Miguel. Yeah, he was serving meatballs yesterday. That's great. And especially with his he's the Batman, and his Robin yesterday was Dominic the Donkey. So that was really a great performance. And Matt Riley says he looks like a Miami Heat player. Yeah, he probably does. And he also says here, Pat Riley loves to get those players that have the thing you can't teach. So
yeah,
he does have it. Knicks Nation says Warriors should take. I keep messing up this guy's name.
James and Najee.
Inaji. Here they need a center badly. That would make a whole lot of sense. Although the guy I have the Warriors taking is Noah Clowney out of Bama.
Hold on a second. I thought. Now, my mistake. The Wizards have this pick, don't they? No, they don't. My
No.
mistake. My mistake.
Mm-mm.
So I'll just change this back to the Warriors because I actually had the Warriors originally making this pick. I have them selecting Ryan Rupert.
Ryan Rupert. Okay. So you have Rupert. I have Noah Clowney. Rupert went to. He's the international out of France.
Australia. I thought he was Australian. Was he not?
Maybe he was, or let me look at it. Where did Rupert? Where are you? Well, he played for the New Zealand Breakers. Maybe I'm wrong.
I think it was New Zealand. It was definitely
Okay.
New Zealand. New Zealand, Australia, New Zealand, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Same continent.
Yeah, sure. As they're just going over the Warriors, but I agree with your take. I think the Warriors do need a big, and that's why I have them taking Clowney as the pick is in. As we're just waiting for some of these ESPN gurus to tell us
disappear.
their thoughts.
Yeah, they do need a stretch for because JaMychal Green's also a free agent. So, with the 19th pick overall in the 2023 NBA draft, the Golden State Warriors select a player by the name of Brandon Podjemski, guard out of Santa Clara.
I couldn't. I was thinking him too, but I thought they would go big. But I
He's their
guess
new backup point guard, shooting guard, I should say.
yeah. Now they got their four guards: Pojemski, Paul in the backcourt, and then the starters are Clay and Steph.
Yep. Not a bad pick. I mean, his big thing. I thought he was a point guard originally, but his biggest thing that he could do is shooting.
Mm-hmm.
Biggest weakness is the first step and athleticism. But I'm
Wow,
sure he's.
the
Go ahead.
Warriors taking another shooter. Who would have thought?
I mean, they just set up their shooters for success because everything is about off-ball movement in that offense. Like obviously it's revolutionary, but he's going to be put in a lot of positions to succeed. As Whitmore is still falling.
I
Now,
also thought he was a little underrated defensively.
uh-huh.
Thought he wasn't bad and he could hold his own. Nothing spectacular, but I didn't think he was that bad. And I guess the knock on him is that he's just not he's not a dribbler. But I think that fits well for the Warriors. I think they've proven that with a lot of guys. So
Right.
just because he doesn't have ball handling doesn't mean he can be effective. And good. I guess I would say maybe not who I thought they would take, but I think it's a good fit here.
No, I agree. What was I going to say? Now I just lost my train of thought. John, do I get a quarter of a point if the Rockets select Cam Whitmore here? Because that's who I had originally taken the by.
All right, you've got a quarter. If that's what, fair enough. Fair enough. I'll give you. No, I'll even say it's a half. I'll even say it's a half.
Okay.
Because you did technically get the pick right.
It's just at a different spot. If they select Cam Whitmore.
Could you imagine the Rockets coming away with Thompson and Whitmore?
Athletic as hell.
Yeah, no. I am what's it called? Already wrong on this pick actually, because I had them taking the oh my god.
Come on, John. Words.
Pojemski, yeah. I just why I was like, why could I not think it was? I'm looking right at the kid too.
I have the Rockets here taking Nizik and Najee, but a couple of questions. Knowing the Warriors, they're going to take another guard. We already just saw that. Whatever happened to Dominic Smith?
He gets to now suck in Washington. I want to take a look how good he is. I don't think he's doing that good actually, but
Knicks Nation thinks that Bryce Sensabaugh is going to be picked as Whitmore obviously is dropping for a reason.
It's not horrible. I mean, Just some of his stats. Dominic Smith hitting 262, 2 homers, 17 RBIs, OPS of 648. Again, he gets the. I'm glad he's gone. He was a crybaby too.
It was a baby. 2 minutes about away from the Rockets pick.
It's Dominic the Donkey. I have to say that is a very catchy song.
It is, though.
It is a very catchy song, but I just hate the context that we have to freaking use it.
Yeah, definitely.
Are we going to commercial? Yes, we're going to commercial. So, all right, where do you think maybe? Here's a question. With the remaining back half of the first round, because now we're at pick 20 and we got 10 more picks left. Where do you see Cam Whitmore as a best fit now?
I actually, obviously, I said the Rockets, but going down the list, maybe this again. We saw the rumors earlier today that the Nets could possibly trade Dorian Finney-Smith or Royce O'Neal in both. Maybe he could be in that starting lineup. It wouldn't be too bad next to Mikal Bridges, two Villanova products, by the way. But obviously Cam Johnson has to be re-signed as well, the old Pitt player. But Nets wouldn't be a bad fit because he scores and he's got good athleticism. Portland Trailblazers, I don't think they need any more scoring. I could be wrong, though. But Sacramento Kings, I can see him thriving there. Pacers, I have them taking a Bryce Sensabaugh, so maybe he'd be a good fit there as in terms of Whitmore. Hornets, they definitely could thrive with his athleticism. There's a couple of fits there. I'd be shocked if he drops out of the first. Shocked.
That would be insane. I don't remember the last time a guy was like top 5, 6. That's out of the that just is completely out of the first round. That's insane.
We're waiting on the Houston Rockets pick.
No, this is a stupid commercial. So we have some comments here. Disgruntled says, I remember when people thought he was better than Pete. Are you talking about Dom Smith? Yeah, I was like, no, he wasn't. He just didn't have his power. Crackle Nuts is calling me a crybaby. I am not a crybaby. You know what? That's it. The gloves are off. The fight's back on. Knicks Nation says, IKF proved that Ohtani is mid, by the way. Not only did he pitch a shutout inning, he hit a 2-run homer as well. What? What is he?
Dead ass. He pitched in the 9th inning.
Oh, really? In today's? I mean, I didn't watch the 9th, but what was
I didn't watch either, but I saw the notification.
Wow, so instead of 10-0, it's 10-2.
Which is only 2 runs better.
That's right. Hey, didn't get shut out.
Hey, this is the plus Yankees.
Did he really pitch? Let me see. He did. You know what? He was your best pitcher.
Because Herman shat the bed.
Herman, you want to hear the final stat line for Herman tonight?
3
1/3, 8 hits, 10 runs, 8 of them earned, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, and he gave up 4 homers. His ERA is now up to a 5.10. Remember, I don't remember which one of the comments it was about a few shows ago, but someone said he was pushing all-star status. Yeah, I don't think
might have been Jacob, but I'm not too sure.
It might have been, but I'm like, I don't think that's the case. All right, so the pick is in.
I don't know who's doing this pick between us.
I got the even numbers, so I'm up.
20. Okay, gotcha.
They're showing the podium. There's the commissioner. There you go, Silver. Come on. I know it's a long night, but come on now. 20th pick in the NBA draft. The Rockets are going to select Cam Whitmore.
Half a point.
Wow. So
half a point.
That go after him. Congratulations. They get a Thompson twin. They got Asar and they got Amon Thompson, and then now they get another top 10-ish, top 5 player. Cam Whitmore is finally off the board. He can now breathe and relax as the Rockets say, "Hey, this value is too good here." So like we said earlier, with Cam Whitmore, obviously coming out of Villanova. I like the fact that he's the guy that's a really good transition threat, and he attacks the basket, especially in those half court situations. Um, and again, for a guy that's more of a slasher, he doesn't have a bad handle. He's not someone that can't really dribble, but the athleticism is crazy, and this guy he's going to be throwing down some alley oops for sure. And again, the big question mark is the inconsistency shooting,
Yeah,
especially from the free throw line. I don't have the number what his free throw percentage was,
I'll look it up.
but I knew that was something that was a question mark for him.
I was gonna say, it's fun to see him. It's gonna be him and the Eamon Thompson together. That's a fun athletic duo, not only in the half court but in transition. They're gonna be. You bet Ime Udoka is gonna be running with them.
Oh yeah, no, of course. And this just adds to the young core, of what they're trying to build. Because remember last year they took Jabari Smith, as we said
Yep.
earlier. You got Green, you got Kevin Porter, who's probably I could see one of them going to the bench now.
Yeah.
So, um, again, very interesting pick, or a very interesting pickup, I should say.
Jacob asked, "Does Houston have the best draft so far?"
I mean, you get a guy this great in value. I mean, you know,
100%. The value's great. I like the Thompson pick. I like this pick. So yeah, there's a case. There's a case. Nick Nation says Ryan Rupert to Brooklyn here. I actually have him. Where do I have him? I had him going 19th to Golden State, so that's automatically. Well, no, I don't see him going to Golden State. Yeah, he's not at Golden State. He's not going to Brooklyn. That was what I meant to say.
Yeah. So I guess Brooklyn doesn't get Cam Whitmore. He's not going to be a New York player. That's okay.
He's not.
Though. Brooklyn does have back-to-back picks. So I actually had. I announced the second pick. I thought in the second pick they're going to take Nick Smith Jr. But the first pick for Brooklyn, I have them taking the forward out of Iowa, Chris Murray.
I can't get any of these picks right because Koulibaly and Podziemski are already gone.
Dang it. Let's see if I'm right. I could still be right. Chris Murray and Nick Smith Jr. are the two guys. So now are these? If I get it the right and I get them in the wrong order, is that half?
Yeah, it's a half.
Half. Okay.
Jacob says Don Hurley, my fucking guy on the screen. Obviously, UConn champions.
Yep, he's a ruin. The
Ruin.
UConn legend here. Nick's Nation saying Ryan Rupert to Brooklyn. It's a possibility. I have him in like the late first round. He said Jacob announced he just got extended 6 years today. I didn't know that.
That's 6 years, I think, like $33 million.
Wow. Pretty good. Okay.
Rumor here in Connecticut is that Boston wants to take Andre Jackson Jr. I have not looked into Andre Jackson, I'm not going to lie to you.
Andre Jackson. The name sounds familiar. Maybe I took a look
UConn.
at it. Oh, that's why Jacob knows.
So Brooklyn needs rebounding per Bobby Marks and shooting because they're going to lose probably Watanabe.
Yeah,
I don't know who else is a free agent.
I'd say he was their best shooter last year.
44% from three.
Yeah, no, that was incredible. A guy that really no one even knew about, kind of off everyone's radar, and just friggin' took the 3-point line by storm. But I guess we're waiting for the pick to be in as Brooklyn's cutting it kind of close here. As Chris Murray, by the way, the first guy, he's the what's it called? He's more of a scorer who's a really good off-ball scorer.
Yeah.
And
he's also a good defender.
Yeah, and in scoring, he's very good at cutting to the basket, and even got some post moves in there too. That's not bad. Um, just a very good, sound defensive player, like Lucas said. The only issue is that he's really not a guy that's going to create his own shot.
Yeah,
He doesn't have
he's also
handle.
not very athletic either.
No, not that. Jacob saying that Nick Smith is definitely going to Brooklyn here. I have him as one of the picks here. Clowney is also a possibility. I already had Clowney gone in my mock draft, but he's still on the board. And he also said Colby Jones is a good pick here too. It's an interesting prospect as well.
As we're watching the highlights of the UConn team,
Yep, Jacob's definitely happy about this.
Jordan Hawkins, Andre Jackson.
Yeah, a few mid to late first rounders, I should say. As you know, I mean, I'm really glad he's getting the interview, but at the same time, I want to see the pick happen.
Maybe they're just waiting to reveal both picks, or I don't know. You rarely see that.
Can you do that, or I don't even know?
I would hope you could because it speeds it up.
Disgruntled is asking when does free agency start? So not tomorrow, but the next Friday. Next Friday, NBA free agency starts, or I guess the legal tampering period of basketball.
And don't forget, we'll be live for that.
That's correct as well. Sanogo and Jackson get drafted tonight. We go 3 for 3. Okay.
All right. Brooklyn is up. With the 21st pick in the 2023 NBA draft, the Brooklyn Nets select Noah Clowney, forward, Alabama.
Dang, I got that wrong.
But you said you wanted a half a point.
Well, now, so like I had Chris Murray in the first pick, and then I had Nick Smith Jr. with their second.
Oh, you didn't have Clowney in either.
No. I already had Clowney off the board. I had him back at Golden State, which I was wrong on. So not a bad pick. I like Clowney's defensive presence.
Yeah, that's his biggest thing.
I like his ability to protect the rim a lot. I thought he was one of the best in the country in college ball last year for Bama. And he was a real force on that team. So good pickup here for Brooklyn.
Of course. Nice solid pickup. Now, let me look at the depth chart too, because
take a look at that myself.
Because, as I mentioned, their projected starting lineup per ESPN would be Dinwiddie, Bridges, Cam Johnson, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Claxton. Now, I think if I were to think one of the gets moves, I'd say Dorian Finney-Smith.
Yeah.
And maybe throw Clowney into that position.
Him and Royce O'Neal were both mentioned in trade rumors.
Mm-hmm.
And then remember, you had some nice bench pieces here. Like I don't know if the contracts off the top of my head, but I do like some of the guys they brought off the bench last year, like Seth Curry, Joe Harris. Is Ben Simmons? Is he gonna get traded now? I don't even know.
Oh, I don't even know. Clowney. What was I gonna say? As I said, John, you said Finney-Smith and Royce O'Neal are rumors. So I like that. I like Clowney's fit in the starting lineup. I'll tell you why.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have like two shooters already in Bridges and Johnson. Dinwiddie's more of a guy who'll probably drive to the rack, but you know
he's also the primary ball handler on that team. When Dinwiddie.
Yeah, Clowney is more. Clowney and Claxton could the two C's could focus on defense.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Or he can come off the bench, but I don't see why he can't start at power forward. Jacob says, anyone shocked that Anthony Black went so high?
I called it. That was my mock pick. That was my pick.
Yeah, at 6. I had him at 8, so I was wrong there. John was right. John, did Wake Forest win tonight?
No, Wake Forest actually lost an extra innings in that pitcher's duel to the LSU pitcher. Paul Skeens went like 8 innings, struck out 9. But he didn't get the win because LSU won in like 11 innings. They won 2-0.
Yeah.
So that pitching matchup kind of lived to the hype, and I kind of want to go back and watch some of the highlights because I think they're saying those two pitchers could be first rounders, if I'm not mistaken. So that's pretty
Right.
cool that happened. But again, Jacob, I had Wake Forest winning the college tournament, so we'll see what happens. As the second pick of Brooklyn is still being waited on.
Bobby
Dude
Marks.
said that Noah Clowney's got an edge to him. So, I mean, as our leader, Alex says, breaking news, the Yankees are a fucking cupcake factory.
Tell me about it. Laughing stock joke. That's why I'm not spending money.
I think, like I said, I think you were more the angrier one. I'm not saying Alex isn't angry, but I think Luca's more fed up at this point. I just see it like he looks so defeated, kind of like how I look defeated with the Feebles, and I just see it on his face, and it's like just disgusted.
I ought to just bring a poster on July the 4th because I'm going to that game. Like, fire Boone, fire Cashman. Or sell the team Hal.
Sell the team. Sell the. Well, if you get all the A's fans, maybe they could help you. Did anyone draft Sid? No, he did not get taken yet.
Nothing yet on that.
I think Matt Riley's being sarcastic. Knicks Nation says the Yankees are 100% worse than the Mets. No, they're not. No, they're not. I will fight to the day on that one. The Mets cannot pitch. Cannot pitch. No, they have zero starting pitching, and they have like two bullpen guys.
To be fair, Yankees fans and Mets fans arguing who's worse. It's like that one episode of SpongeBob where Patrick and SpongeBob steal that balloon, and then they go to the police station where they're talking in gibberish, pointing at each other.
I thought it's like the what's it called, the Dumb and Dumber moment in SpongeBob when like Patrick's trying to win the award and he starts copying SpongeBob. And they just start hitting each other in the heads with hammers. I think you know what? Time to pull out the once a day or once a show sign.
No we's allowed. So we're still waiting on Brooklyn here.
Jesus, come on. Announce the pick. It's been like it feels like 10 minutes. As they said, I have them taking Nick Smith Jr., the guard out of Arkansas. But there's still a couple guys on the board: Brian Sensabaugh, Chris Murray, Colby Jones, Ryan Repair.
Jacob says we won a series without Judge. I'll take it, I guess, but Hal's comments and Aaron Boone's comments after today's game are just ridiculous. So I can't even get to see. John, I'm going to be honest with you. I can't even get happy about a series win.
At least your team's won a series this month. I'll give you that. I'm still waiting for mine to do so.
Still waiting on Brooklyn in their own arena, nonetheless. All right, commissioner's coming out. John, you'll take this pick.
All right. Come on. Yeah, nice camera angle, ESPN. With the 22nd pick, as this is the Nets' second pick, the Brooklyn Nets will select Tariq Whitehead from Duke University. Wow.
I had Whitehead going 27th overall, so about 5 picks a little early. But Whitehead's main thing is he could score.
I will not lie. I had Tariq Whitehead all the way near the end of the first round. I had him at the Clippers pick at 30. I think that's a bit of a reach, but
they add defense and they also add shooting.
Yeah, he's a shooter. And in terms of Mr. Whitehead's game. He's the freshman out of Duke. Um, again, I think he's good at finishing. He could shoot, but he could also finish at the rim,
Mm-hmm.
and whatnot. And I think he's got uh, good decision making as well. Not a lot of players have that, but again, the 3-point percentage also 42%, which is excellent. But he missed some time in college. I think it was a broken foot. I think that's what they said in the scouting
Yep,
report.
broken foot.
And he had surgery during the pre-draft or his second surgery. So we're gonna see how he can transition from that because, again, not didn't get a whole lot of playing time with some of that injury.
Yeah, so they got defense with both picks, but obviously more of the shooter is Derek Whitehead. It's not
So
a bad pick, but you could have reached a little bit.
So I managed to get 2 Brooklyn Nets picks wrong. Okay. And I got Portland's pick wrong. I had Jet Howard. Okay, so I can't even get that right.
I can't even get this right either because I had Kobe Bufkin going here.
Just some more comments here is there's actually a bunch of them that we didn't get to. Alex, our guy, says it reminds me of South Park where both sides want to lose and talk about how their own team is getting creamed. Oh, you're talking about the baseball tournament. I remember that. Matt Riley says, John, they absolutely are. The Mets are making the playoffs as a success. I disagree in that opinion. I got higher expectations, buddy. And I know the Yankees have World Series aspirations, but let's be realistic. Neither team is going there.
Jacob, I don't think we have a second round pick. To be honest, I'll double check for you.
Let me a draft order. Let's see. Do the Knicks have a second rounder? No, we didn't have a second rounder. So where did that pick? Was that the trade? Where did that pick go?
That pick went to Minnesota.
What?
Big Alex says Jake Simone's upset with the Nets draft. I'm not surprised because they didn't get a point guard. He really wanted Anthony Black, or at least a trade up for him.
I mean, that's a little. I mean, they could have done that just because they had 2 firsts, but again, a little hard. I think Whitehead was a bit of a reach.
Yeah,
being honest, I just had him make in the first round, so I could understand a little him being a little upset with that pick. Knicks Nation says, "Oh no, the Towns deal is done per butt cracks." Star that comment. That's the comment of the night. Good one. I want to know what I'm very curious to hear what Jake says about the Nets picks because I know he's the Nets fan. As the Blazers pick is in as we get back from commercial. As Luca, this is your pick.
All right, so with the 23rd pick overall in the 2023 NBA draft, the Portland Trailblazers select player by the name of Chris Murray, forward out of Iowa.
Yep, so I was off just a little bit with Chris Murray. I had the Nets grabbing him, but he goes here to the Blazers for their second first-round pick. Originally, they took oh God, who the hell did they take? They took Scoot.
Yeah.
And he's the brother of Keegan Murray, who's had his rookie season last year with the Sacramento Kings and Sacktown. But what's your thoughts on Murray here?
I like the fit. First of all, I want to say what's up to one of our members, JC. What's going on, brother?
JC.
I like the fit.
JC.
Me and Brian were actually talking this over because I was talking about like my trade with Portland and Miami. Obviously, it's not going to happen tonight. As it looks, it doesn't. I was like, who do you think is the better fit for Portland? I think they're going to select a power forward. And he says, I think Chris Murray is a very good fit for them. So Chris Murray goes to Portland. I had them taking Kobe Buffkin. Obviously, he's way off the board, but I was one pick away. I wanted to have some fun in my mock draft.
No, that's
One,
not bad. I mean, hey, we're not expert. I hate when everyone gets called an expert mock drafter. Like, what
no,
the
no, no,
hell
I
is
know,
that?
but I was saying like I wanted to have some fun because Chris Murray and Keegan Murray
Yeah,
teamed up together. Because if you think about it, Trey Lyles is a free agent for the Kings, and so is Harrison Barnes. So they could have played together and possibly in the same lineup or on the same team.
yeah, no, that's a possibility. Not a bad suggestion. As up next now is
The
the
Sacramento Kings.
Sacramento Kings, and I have them selecting a Mister Ryan Rupert, the guard. Um, I think you had him off the board already, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, so that's another on me.
Well, who do you have the Kings taking?
Chris Murray.
Oh, right. Sorry. Um, so with Repair, he's a very good defender. Very puts a lot of pressure on people that are for an on-ball defender, and he's very disruptive in the passing lane. So I think that's his biggest strength. Very good on-ball defense, good off-ball defense, good ball denial skills. And I guess the minus is uh, he's for a guy that's like I guess for a guy that's kind of a guard.
The Kings are
Uh,
making a trade.
ooh,
It's not being reported yet. Unfortunately, I spoiled myself, but I know who they're trading. Um, do
dang.
I now do I spoil it yet, or do I wait for the pick?
Well, who are they trading with?
I don't know who they're trading with. I know the player that they are trading.
Can I hear it?
That player is Rashawn Holmes, who they just
Oh,
signed to a contract not too long ago.
hmm.
Wait, hold on. Let me just double check something. Just gonna double check because I thought I saw his name in the thing. Yeah, it's Rashawn Holmes.
Uh, yeah, Crackle Nuts is an expert in Horizon. Yeah, sure you are.
I don't know who they're trading with, but
I'll wait for the Woj bomb.
yeah, let Woj or whoever, Bobby Marks, whoever the hell, tell you, and then I'll have you announce it because this is obviously number 24.
Does that mean they traded the 24th pick too?
It's possible because obviously this trade got pushed right now.
Hmm.
So my Chris Murray pick is way off.
Oh, Knicks Nation has spoiled it, as he says Dallas has picked 24 in Rashawn Holmes. Yep.
Interesting.
Matt, this is going to be the Mavericks player. So Olivier Maxwell Prosper, the forward out of Marquette, who was my next pick. I had Boston going to get him, but that's wrong. But so what? I'm very curious. What did Dallas give up because they did not have another first this year?
Right,
They give up a second. Were they early in the second round?
I'll check. I'm trying to obviously not trying to spoil myself for the next pick, but anyways, I'm gonna give you a little stuff on Maxence Prosper. Prosper, his biggest strength is cutting in defense. He's kind of like a Swiss Army knife. He's gonna do the dirty work for you, but his biggest weakness is the shooting inconsistency. So Dallas gets a defensive player. Obviously, they lack defense, or at least they try to reestablish that identity. Maxence Prosper speaks 4 languages: French, English, Spanish, and Haitian Creole.
Smart guy. Smart.
Luca, we
Very.
need to figure out how much it would cost to watch John and Cracklenuts beat down.
Is it well? If it's on pay per view, might as well.
Great value, uber athlete in terms of Maxence Prosper. I watched him a lot. He could stretch the floor too. A little inconsistent with the shooting. That's what I've read, but he's more of an athletic wing defender.
Yeah,
212.
no, he is crazy athletic. Like this guy's athleticism is off the charts, kind of thing. And I think he actually was a good role player. And I think he's a good rebounder too.
Yeah.
I think he averaged like almost near 5 a game, which isn't bad. But the one thing is, I think he's a little sloppy with like turnovers and stuff. Not a
Mhm.
good playmaker. So that was something I noticed in his game. One report I saw out there, or it was either that or a video. Um, Basically had him like I think they say he was like a PJ Tucker kind of player, but I
I
think he's
guess because
crazy
he's a dirty
athletic.
work player.
Yeah, dirty work, but I see more athleticism than PJ Tucker.
Yeah. Cracklenut says you better have backup.
I don't need backup.
Jacob says the Milwaukee Bucks are acquiring pick number 36 in a deal with the Magic. Interesting. JC says I'm losing feeling in my feet.
Are you
Hope all is well.
are you okay? I hope. Maybe are you at the event, JC? You at draft night? I don't know. Yeah. Crackle nuts. I'm sure he's with Aaron Judge, who had his leg amputated. Yeah.
All right, number 25. This is the Grizzlies pick that's going to the Celtics because of the Marcus Smart trade. So this is technically Memphis's pick. This will be traded to Boston in that deal. Waiting on commissioner. Brian is bragging. Milwaukee
Yes,
has pick 36.
Brian has made it, guys. Give it up for bad takes, Brian.
All right, so he's also fresh off of turning 23.
Nope, Crackle Nuts. Didn't you hear that he got his legs amputated?
Still waiting on 25.
Why disgruntled ass diabetes? What?
What about diabetes? Oh,
I don't know.
diabetes.
I'm trying to figure
Crackle
out.
Nut says you wish you had Aaron Judge.
No, I don't want guys that can have their legs amputated. Come on now.
Brian says that Bucks did trade up to 36. Yeah, Jacob just gave us up that update. I would give Judge my toe if I could.
People are gonna cut off their own. You guys are crazy.
Come on, Andre Jackson, please, Jacob, because he was talking about the Celtics being rumored with him, and he says, "Fuck you, Brian. No one wants you here."
Hey, that's not nice. Be nice to bad takes, Brian. He hasn't. You know what? The past few times he's been on the show, he hasn't zoned out as much.
That's true. I think
give
he
him a
zoned
lot
out
of
one
credit.
time.
He did, but I give him a lot of credit. Improvements.
Judge will still hit better than the whole Yankees team with no legs.
You know what? Crackle Nuts, I'm in 100% agreement with you on that one. That is very true. He said I would give also one of his toes, and Brian says, "Damn, Jacob, I thought we were on good terms." That's hysterical. If you want to imitate any body part, just tell Vogelfat to sit on it. Yes, even you're great. That's a good one, man. That's a good one. Nick Station.
Comment is starred.
Yeah.
So the Pistons have traded with the Celtics.
Dude, we didn't even finish the first trade that happened. Come on now. Got all these trades to catch up on. Who did the Magic draft? Well, with their first
Anthony
pick,
Black.
they had Anthony Black, and now they're going to be – I don't know when their next pick is, if I'm being – too many trades going on now. Too many trades at once. I need one trade at a time. All the Yankees medical staff had to do was ask, oh, God. Jacob saying Pistons get 25. Boston moves back to 31. Okay, so that's the first pick in the second round. What are the Knicks doing? Well, we don't have a first and we don't have a second, so my best guess really kind of is nothing.
So the Josh Hart trade is complete. The Blazers acquired Cam Reddish, Ryan Archidakano, Svai Mikhailuk, and Chris Murray for Josh Hart.
Okay, so Chris Murray is the player. I guess that player to be named later, or that draft pick to be named later. The Magic have to move one of their guards now. They have too many. Yeah, Brian, we were talking about that earlier. I think Markelle Fultz should be. I just don't think he's that. Like, I think he could be a decent role player for somebody, but like, I just don't see it working out.
Mr. Nets fan, what's going on? Evan, what do you think of the draft picks? Evan, let us know.
Yeah, very curious to hear because we had Luca's buddy. My God, I'm forgetting
Jake.
names tonight. Jake, not happy as the pick. Are they announcing a trade or because the Grizzlies?
They probably are, but anyways, for Memphis, the 25th overall pick that's going from Memphis to the Celtics to Detroit, Marcus Sasser, guard out of Houston.
Okay.
He was projected as a second-round guy, actually.
All right, Crackle Nuts is now wanting to fight Pete Alonso and slap him. Okay, well, I don't think that's going to go well for you unless you're like 7'3".
So
this is. I'm sorry, you said this is going to the Pistons.
Yes, because this was originally Memphis's pick.
Mm-hmm.
Then it was Boston's pick in the trade, and now Boston trading with Detroit, and now they get 31. So with that, I'm sorry. So here's some notable names that are on the board. Nick Smith is still on the board. Who else is on the board? Ryan Rupert, Jameson Najee,
Colby Jones,
Bryce Sensabaugh, and Maxwell Lewis. Jake was actually tweeting on Twitter. He said he's fine with the Whitehead pick, but he does not like the Clowney pick.
He didn't like. Wait, really? He didn't like the Clowney pick.
That's correct.
Really, I like the opposite, in my opinion.
One thing on my bucket list is to slap goofy-looking Alonso. Obviously mentioned that. It looks like the Magic got Jet Howard as well. Yup, both of them. Fultz is a great asset to have. Could be a decent depth piece for a guard-needy team, definitely. Good value. Talking about the Jet Howard pick. Pistons also got second-round picks from Boston. Interesting.
Okay.
Thank you, Brian. Memphis has John Morant, Dylan Brooks, Marcus Smart. Such an unlikable, dirty, ugly team. Brooks is probably a free agent. He's probably going to walk. That's what's rumored.
We all predict that he's going to the Wandong Tigers. But also remember, Knicks Nation, they acquired Marcus Smart, as we said earlier, before, like toward the beginning of this video, that the reason to get Marcus Smart is pretty much because Ja Morant is suspended for 25 games, which is pretty much more than a quarter of the season. So they needed someone to run point guard while he is busy figuring out why he's playing with guns.
Disgruntled. I don't think Dylan got cut. They basically just told him, per reports, that we're not bringing you back.
Yeah, it's more like we don't want to re-sign you. But yeah, in a sense, disgruntled.
26 overall. John, who do you have the Pacers selecting?
Let me go back and look after all the trade nonsense. I actually have the Pacers taking Leonard Miller, which
I have them taking Bryce Sensabaugh.
Okay.
Marcus Smart doesn't help them win a championship? No, because the one thing is they added defense. Sure, they're already an elite defensive team, but the problem is they lack outside shooting, and Smart's not the most consistent.
What would you hear again? Oh, they're just talking about the Smart deal. What was I saying before this? Sorry, it's been a little bit now, so my head's all over the place. But I think I had the Pacers here selecting Leonard Miller, who's 6'9", weighs about 210, a little more than that. A 7'2" wingspan, so he's got some, another guy with a big wingspan. He's a good rebounder, really good defender, I think. I think he's very versatile in defending. He can not only guard bigger men, but he can guard guards too because he's quick on the perimeter.
Miller's 6'10", I think.
He's 6'10". I thought he maybe I was wrong on that. But where he lacks is the shooting. He shot 32% from three in Canada, not college. He's from Canada, and again, I think he'd be a good defensive fit here for the Pacers. Just because they got, not that they're a horrible defensive team, but you add that to already a guy like Miles Turner. And I forget, the Pacers had an earlier first round pick, if I'm not mistaken. That was the pick where they got
Jarvis
Koulibaly.
Walker. Yeah, and then they traded.
And then they traded it for Walker. So maybe they don't go after here, but this is who I thought they would pick. So.
Right, so the pick is in for the Pacers. John, you'll take this one.
All right, and with the 26th pick of the 2023 NBA Draft, the Indiana Pacers select Ben Shepherd.
I have no idea. I saw him once in like the mocks and shit.
Where is he?
From Belmont.
Belmont. I did not watch a lot on him. I think I read maybe an article about him.
I'll get you the scouting report right now, actually.
Yeah, I'm going to look it up, too, to see if I could find it. Because I was doing a lot last night, a little bit this morning, while I had some time. Shepherd. Which article was it? Oh, he's a shooter. He shot 41.5% from three. He's a really good catch and shoot guy. And he can also hit mid-range shots, so he's not just like a 3-point specialist. But the weird thing was, not a good free throw shooter.
How much? Do you know?
It says, let me go back to it because I have multiple tabs open. In 4 years of at Belmont, 69.9%.
Not good.
Which is really weird.
Jake says a reach. I agree with you. You could have just got Bryce Sensabaugh. Sensabaugh is a better prospect. Mm-hmm. Sensabaugh has a lot more with shot creation. Is he sometimes the most efficient? No, but he's a better shot creator. Can make the tough shots. So I don't understand this pick by Indiana. I think they could have just went Bryce Sensabaugh, unless there's something wrong there.
All right, and next up is the next first-round pick for the Charlotte Hornets, who, remember, already has Brandon Miller, who they took back in the second overall pick. All right. Who do you have the Hornets here in the later half of the first round? Because now we only got 4 picks left, so we're about to be.
It's a bust for me because I had them selecting Dariq Whitehead.
Okay, I have the Hornets going out and getting Anaji.
Okay. Jacob says Smith had some character issues at Arkansas. Curious to see if those issues are impacting his stock. Not to mention he was also hurt too, so it's like it's a double-edged sword. Keep an eye out. From what I know, Milwaukee has interest in Imani Bates. Would be a major steal in the second round.
Yeah, you know what, Brian? I've actually read some good things on him because I actually remember reading on him in high school and whatnot.
Hornets select. Let's see. Nick Smith Jr.
Okay. Well, there's your answer. I'm a little confused by the pick, not because I think it's a good value, kind of maybe best player available, but I don't really think they needed another guard.
I'm kind of baffled.
Yeah.
Let me see.
The reason I had them selecting a Najee is because I thought they needed a center, and you look at like their depth chart, like they had Mark Williams starting
Yeah,
at ESPN, and I'm like, do I really think he's a
because
center?
he's
No.
PJ Washington's a free agent. That's why.
Right. That too. So I'm like, they need to come out with a big, and you get Brandon Miller and Nick Smith, really good players. Like I think Nick Smith was really good in Arkansas, even though he had some injuries. But I'm really shocked they really don't have a big on this team that I'm like, wow. So a little shock of the fit, but um still some decent players left in the later first round. You got Repair, you got Sensabaugh, Colby Jones. So we'll see what happens. You got Leonard Miller.
Is Scary Terry finished in Charlotte? I think so.
Yeah, it would seem so. I mean, if you take now you got Brandon Miller and LaMelo Ball. You got I think that is Dennis Smith Jr. still under contract.
Free agent.
He's a free agent. What about Oubre? I don't think Oubre is. I think Oubre
Free
is
agent.
signed. He is. Okay, so maybe that's why they took him. Maybe that's why. Maybe they'll sign a big in free agency, or maybe this is a fit for a guy where like DeAndre Ayton could be traded to.
Yeah. Jazz selection is in as well.
All right. Let me go and take a look at who I had the Utah Jazz selecting. I have the Jazz taking Mr. Sensabaugh here.
I have them taking Colby Jones.
Colby Jones. Funny, I have Colby Jones on my next pick. Sensabaugh. How would he fit this Utah Jazz? Is this their third pick now, if I'm not mistaken?
Mm-hmm. 9, 16, and 28.
Yep. And
Think about it. I've gotten 2 of their picks right. Could it be a third?
who really? You got 2 picks? Who did you? Oh, you're right. We both had the Keontae George pick correct, and you had the Taylor Hendricks pick.
That's correct.
I would like the fit of Sensabaugh here, just because Sensabaugh is more of a how big was he again, if I'm not mistaken?
6'5", I think.
I thought he was a little bit bigger. He's the he would be the 2 guard. And I thought, maybe they go after a center along with Walker Kessler, but Hendricks could play center, but he's more of a power forward. But, their backcourt is Sexton and Clarkson are probably going to start. You got Chris Dunn as a backup with Keontae George.
I think Dunn is either a free agent or he has a non-guaranteed year on him, so they could just let him.
Yes, and I'm not the biggest fan of Chris Dunn. I think he can go, and I think you can replace him with someone who's more crafty. With Sensabaugh, I like his mid-range game a lot, and he can also hit some three-pointers, 40.5% from 3. Good knockdown shooter. But again, the reason why I guess teams have stayed away, he's had since high school 2 meniscus injuries.
Oof. John, your pick.
With the next pick here, the Utah Jazz with the 28th overall selection will select Bryce Sensabaugh. Boom.
That's another pick you've hit out of the park.
There you go. There we go. What is that, 9.5 now? I'll count it up later.
I had Sensabaugh at 26th overall, 2 picks earlier.
Sensabaugh. Well, I can only get one more pick right because I have Colby Jones going to the Nuggets here. But and Derek Whitehead's already been picked. I had him with the Clippers spot.
Yeah, I can only get one pick right because Max Head's Prosper is gone and Maxwell Lewis is still around. Jacob, I think we'll do a little bit of the second round, not too much. I think we'll see the rest of the first rounders go, and then I think we'll call it a night from there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just too much to do 2 rounds.
Yeah, like even when the Knicks pissed me off last year, I couldn't do both rounds. I was like, I was too pissed.
So there's a fake tweet that my friend sent me about the Yankees because he's a diehard Yankee fan. He goes, following tonight's game, the Yankees made the following roster moves. Recalled Oswaldo Peraza from AAA and optioned infielder Josh Donaldson to AAA Afghanistan.
Yikes. Pick is
Yeah.
in for the Pacers. Yeah, they could use a rotational guard, Brian, as in terms of the Nuggets. No, this is actually going to the Nuggets, by the way. I forgot. Because they might lose Bruce Brown in free agency. So they might want a guy who could do a little bit of everything.
Mm-hmm.
And this is their first pick, I believe. And they got a few more. It will go till about the early second round. Okay, as we're still waiting. I think the Pacers are due for a little bit of a step up this year, personally.
Actually, Luca, would we be able to end after the first round?
Yeah, I think we can make it happen.
All right. Because a laptop needs charged. My battery's gone quicker and quicker, which is annoying.
Do you factor in you might want to lower your brightness?
Sometimes I literally forget, but
proposed trade. We're still waiting on the Indiana Pacers to trade this pick to the Nuggets.
I really can't wait for free agency too. Once draft season hits.
Yeah, that's going to be a little more interesting. Our buddy Jake from obviously Jets Way, he's a Nets fan. He says he would 100% trade Mikal Bridges for Scoot Henderson.
Really?
Because he finds Sean Marks is a fraud because he basically he makes a good argument. He says, why are we drafting Clowney and Whitehead, even though they probably won't see time very early, when we're supposed to win now?
I get that point, but the only thing I disagree with him, if you're gonna win now, if you're gonna win now, you don't. I understand because they also traded KD and Kyrie this year, so it's been a really weird year for their goals. But I get those are situations where it's like two head cases. But yeah, you're right.
Jacob says, love y'all dedication analysis. Appreciate the compliment. John is late for his bedtime.
No, that is not true. I also remember the members. I have the Mets Yankees series recap, which I have to do. So I do have to watch some highlights of tonight's Yankee game. Although I pretty much watched most of the action.
The garbage?
Yeah, the Garbo, but I got to prepare that video with my notes and whatnot.
Wolves now have the 33rd pick overall trade with the Spurs, but the Pacers pick is in. This is being sent to the Denver Nuggets. And with the 29th overall pick being sent to the Denver Nuggets, the selection is Julian Strawther, forward Gonzaga. Brian predicted it.
Did he really? I didn't even.
I didn't even see Strawther as a first-round pick, if I'm not mistaken.
No,
I didn't even hear of him before.
I've heard of the name because I did watch Gonzaga this year, but I did not think he was a first rounder. I do like watching college basketball when it's obviously in season.
All right, so a little details on Strawther from NBA Draft Room. He's a well-built small forward who has natural strength, broad shoulders, and solid athletic ability. Born to score the rock, he can light it up from downtown and make plays off the bounce. He's got a frame that projects well to the NBA level at 6'7", 205, wingspan of 6'9". He's got a frame that I already mentioned that has the makings of a small forward prospect. He's good size for the wing position, shoots the ball well, gets good elevation on his jumper, projects as a high-level three-point shooter, quick release, can be a go-to scorer on occasion, has good vision as a passer, changes ends well, and can lead a fast break and handle in the open court. Very active defender, can be sloppy with the dribble, so he'll have to tighten the handle, and does not much have an opposite hand yet in terms of the left hand or the usage.
Brian here says needed a sharpshooter. He's a certified bucket. Well, that probably is the case.
I thought they would look at a guy like I'm sorry to interrupt you. I thought they would look at a guy like just in general who could do a little bit of everything, like a Leonard Miller, because they're losing Bruce Brown.
That would not be a bad fit. I forget the Nuggets free agents off the top of my head. You said
Bruce Brown, Jeff Green.
Green, yeah, probably makes sense.
I guess you can in hindsight he can replace Green.
Yeah, that would make sense. A younger guy.
What's good, y'all? What the fuck is Leon Rose going to do in the draft? Well, we're not doing much of anything because
we just don't have picks right now for this year.
We don't have picks, and we're not going to really trade in. But that's what happens when you have a veteran coach. Knicks, please trade into the draft and take Maxwell Lewis. I wouldn't mind another shooter, Maxwell Lewis. That's what he can do.
Yeah, not a bad suggestion, Almighty. But I doubt we are.
I doubt it. I think we're gonna I don't want to say we're gonna run it back, but I think we're gonna rely on our young guys and probably re-sign Josh Hart, see if we could get an outside shooter as well.
I think like we said earlier, Ian Begley,
DiVincenzo,
Dante DiVincenzo.
I want a forward. It's like I think maybe the Knicks are a little too guard heavy. Maybe they need a forward because obviously they ran a lot of 9-man rotation last year. You had Hartenstein, Obi Toppin. I think he's going to get traded eventually. That's just my thought process, Almighty. It's not like what I want, but obviously at Obi, at Hartenstein, you have Josh Hart and Emmanuel Quickly for the most part. Deuce McBride was in and out of the rotation, so it was a 9-man. Yeah, I agree, Almighty. I 100% agree with you. Teams are making moves and getting better. 100% agree with you. This is my thought process of what I think they're going to do. They can't afford to run it back. They can rely on the improvements of Quickly and Quentin Grimes, but they need to make improvements. That's what I'm saying overall. And they ran a 4-man, so they could get a shooting guard like DiVincenzo and re-sign Josh Hart, but I think that's a little too small on the wing. Like, get me a bigger, smaller forward, in my opinion, and get a replacement for Obi Toppin. You guys think the Warriors could flip CP3 for some role players?
I don't think they're going to flip him. I think he's there to stay. Just because I think they're in the mindset of like, all right, we need to get as many veterans and load up and go on a playoff run because they want to try and win at least one more with Steph and Clay. Because you have to think those guys are getting up there in age now. They're like mid-30s. Because remember, Steph was drafted back in 2007, I think, or 2008. No.
Curry was drafted in 2009.
2009, and Clay was drafted the following
year after. Yep, 2010.
2010. So it's been quite a while for those guys. But yeah.
Not having a draft pick is mind-boggling. I'm not going to lie to you, Almighty. It does make the draft a little more boring.
Yeah, it's like I don't have anything.
You can't wait for the pick. You can't wait for the pick. It's like you can't wait for the pick. Can't wait for the pick. Oh wait, there's no pick. And then it's just like the draft. Obviously, if your team drafts, this could be. Most people obviously watch the NBA or the NFL draft, but you just earned for that pick. It's the stress level. It's like who are you going to pick? The anxiousness, all of that factors in.
Brian says the Clippers are going small forward here. Just trying to think. Yeah, I mean,
I'm gonna look at their depth chart right now because obviously the starting lineup is pretty much set except for point guard. Clippers. I guess to replace Marcus Morris, it would make sense, but that has to be a power forward as well. Plus, they have Robert Covington, who's in and out of the rotation, so they can just slide him in.
Yeah, that makes sense. I
think we'll just close it out after this pick. It's kind of a drag, and obviously we don't have the pick.
Especially since the Knicks don't have a second. But here is the last pick for the first round. The Clippers shall select. I didn't even hear Kobe Brown, forward out of Missouri.
All right, let's take I'm going to look at Kobe Brown for a sec. Forward out of Missouri.
As that concludes the first round, I did not have Kobe Brown in my first round.
Neither did I. Colby Jones is still available for the second round. But I'm just going to look at his scouting report real quick, see what he adds to the Clippers. 6'8", 250, big guard with good scoring instincts and unique skill size and combination. He has a much improved three-point shot, rebounds the ball well, and is a quick, nimble athlete, but not much of a vertical leaper. So more of a shooting kind of thing. A decent low post scorer as well. Not an elite rebounder. Could be foul prone. A little old for a prospect. He's
23, right?
Yep. Especially late second round. That's when players are not. I'm sorry, not players. General managers, front offices start to be concerned about age a little bit, as Kobe Brown is addressed as a playmaker. But I think we'll just close it out here. I just went to a couple comments. Wow, they went wing, kind of shocked. You said they were going small forward.
Yeah,
Brian. I mean,
did you forget what you said?
Jackson could be going here, maybe Rupert, but could be interesting. I'm sure the Pistons will take a chance on maybe Rupert or Jackson. But John, your final thoughts? I think we're going to close it out here.
First off, thank you guys for joining us on draft night. We appreciate giving you our analysis and hearing back from your own. Like we said again, since we're both Knicks fans, it's a little hard to be so excited. I mean, we did our best without a pick, but we hope we provided the insights that you guys were looking for, because that's what this show was for tonight.
Brian says, even though I thought they'd do it, I'm still shocked they did it instead of doing something stupid.
Okay, I get what you mean. But
I
still,
understand.
you did say it.
But anyway, guys, hit the like button, subscribe, do all the good stuff. There's plenty of content out for the weekend, or streams upcoming at least. Next Friday will be definitely a big stream for us. We're going to do free agency, 6 p.m. Friday.
Don't forget, guys, the call-in show this Sunday.
Call-in show is Sunday, because this is the last Sunday of the month. So we appreciate all of you. Check out the streams, the upcoming streams. It should be on the Big Blue in the Bronx channel. Update all over. Great dates and all that. No problems, Jacob. It's fine. We appreciate you coming out regardless. So with that, guys, we'll see you later, and have a good night. Peace.